What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Shane.
Soda.
And I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show. Welcome to episode 1 again. That's right. Here we do episode 1 until we get it right, and then we will move on to episode 2 after that. However, after 2 years of catastrophic failures on every episode, we've decided to hold tight on episode 1 for a while. So until we get one done, we're on 1. Guys, I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. Let's go ahead and say hi to everybody. Producer, you want to say hi first? Producer here. Yeah.
Well, I'm off camera, but that's definitely not what I sound like. Welcome all.
She's playing that game again where she says it's not her, even though she talked first.
Uh-oh. We got some chat happening. Welcome, Leah Moonlight and Jeremy Stephen, who's here for episode 1.
Oh, welcome to episode 1. You made it. Klump, go ahead and say what's up.
What's going on? My name's Krabby Big Klump. I'm here. It's been a few weeks. How are y'all doing?
That's what he does. It's just how he sounds.
Yeah,
How much is Charlie Brown?
This is my normal voice.
Amanda, go ahead and tell people what's up.
Hey guys, it's Ms. Amanda Jane, and as you can tell, it's been almost, Marsh, I'm going to let you do it right now. Get it out of your system. It's been almost
9 days. 9 days. 9 days of Dynamite.
Yep.
Quit.
And I'm still not over the suit.
Yeah.
For those watching, there's the suit. For those at home listening, thinking, what the hell is she talking about? Remember last week, Ricky Starks, a little suit. That's all I have to say. So.
Yep. Ricky Starks in his little suit.
Woo.
All right, let's see. Hope everyone's doing well, Leah says. I hope so, too. We'll see how it goes. Guys, great news to start the show. There was no AEW Dynamite. Cha-cha. Woo!
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Thank God.
You know, and it doesn't
Oh,
start till
sorry.
Friday.
Boo.
I was
So
hoping
wait.
for shirtless Ricky Starks this week in a non-wrestling
If-
form with tight
If
dress pants.
it was on last Wednesday and it's not on again until Friday, if I'm not mistaken, that would be 9 days. 9 days between Dynamites. 2 Dynamites. 9 days apart. 9 days between 2 Dynamites. 9 days.
Damn
Why
it!
not? I'm not mistaken by that, by the math of it.
You're
I feel like
yeah,
that's-
you're right.
Yeah.
God, we're never gonna get over that.
Klump, how you feeling? Klump?
Good.
How you feeling? Oh,
Coffee.
We missed you last week. Let's start off, guys, with what's in your glass. I'll start off just to get it going. I'm having coffee with Terramana. I should actually put the Terramana out, not this other one. A little bit of the, I want to say Mexican coffee, but that feels like it's not nice to say. But that's how I feel about it. Tequila and coffee. I'm doing it because I'm staying up tonight.
Woohoo!
Klump, what are you drinking?
Something that won't give me that bad of a hangover. Mm-hmm. Just coffee with milk.
Hell
Good
yeah.
milk,
Just
bad milk.
2%.
Okay,
Good milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I worry about you.
Yeah,
Thank
liquid.
you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Full
The
liquid.
person in the
That's-
car I threw up on when I had the not good coffee also probably worries about me, and also has not parked near me again.
I just find it funny that Amanda worries about Klump. Amanda, what are you
I agree.
drinking?
Well, I've already had 3 shots of Patron Silver here at an undisclosed location. Whoa.
No.
One was a
No.
double. So I think there's probably 4 now. So anyways, happy Cinco de Mayo to me, even though that passed. So I now am just chillaxing with a regular Coke. And
Nice.
That's
no,
good.
I know I'm not near sponsored, no sponsored. So that's not going to happen for quite a bit of time unless this area builds a Sonic in like 2 days. Which
Yeah,
I doubt.
normally people mix their shots and drinks, and Amanda just goes all shots, and now she's going all soda.
Yeah.
That's right, because it's
That was
Thursday
a
night
lot. Let's
chaser.
calm that down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've had a day. It's been a rough one. So.
I get that.
What more perfect thing to drink on Thursday Night Chaser than just Chaser? She pre-gamed and now she's on the Chaser.
Yeah. And I have
I'm
a
here for
burger again. For
Oh,
all, I had one last week. So, I think I did. I don't remember. I don't know. These weeks are blare, but.
Yep.
2021 is just a blur of sad.
Yeah.
It is. Hey, Amanda, I got a question for you. As we get into the news here, I read a tweet and I could not find something to corroborate the story, as it were. Corroborate. GR Lunar in the chat saying hello. What's up, GR Lunar? Cheers. Have you heard anything or seen anything? Because I don't read a lot of the dirt sheets. I really kind of glance at a couple if I'm looking for something. There's a rumor going around that Osprey didn't actually injure his neck, and that they just are using the story that he hurt his neck to drop the title because it has to do with Bea Priestley leaving the UK. Have you heard anything about this? Is this just flat out rumor that we should ignore until something else comes out, or have you heard anything like of substance?
Well, from what I've been told, and
Our sources.
my
Her
sources.
really. You're my source.
Yeah, well, my sources tell me.
People are watching live right now as I get my source.
I'm your source. I did hear there was some grumblings that, yes, he was a little upset that they did not, sign Bea. But anybody who watches New Japan knows the only women that are on there are like, what's her name? Peter, the bunny that comes out with Tokyo Pimp, who's actually Fale's girlfriend. So good on you, Fale. Okay. But you don't know.
Good job.
Yeah.
A bald, pudgy man doing well. I'm proud of him.
Totally. Yeah.
Hero.
You just see people like that. Or like Tai Chi's annoying fan that follows him when he sings on the mic. That I hate. I hate that. But anyways, I know he was like not happy about that. And obviously she, went back to the UK. And to be quite honest, I would not be surprised. The guy's a dickhead anyway. And that's just my personal opinion, but I can see him doing something like that. And I'm pretty sure that if this is true, that they had given him a lot of money in comparison to what New Japan was giving him.
Who gave him money?
WWE.
But is he going to NXT?
He might be, because I think it's probably true. And what people have told me, they think it's pretty accurate.
And are we talking NXT UK or
NXT UK?
Yeah, I want you to use more specific language because I don't understand what's happening and I haven't heard your sources.
Oh, okay. No, with NXT UK, sorry.
So the idea is that Bea Priestley was not signed to NJPW? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Did she get signed with NXT UK? Or is that just the rumor right now?
Word on the street was yes, she did.
Okay.
But
so the rumor being that she did.
Yeah, she did. And that's the only reason why she'd leave Japan, because let's be honest, the British wrestling scene, Rev Pro,
it's a little
coming back now.
Rough
There's
right
no
now,
there's no progress anymore, progress or whatever you want to call it. So it's very limited.
So, but didn't Osprey, and I don't understand contracts, but didn't Osprey recently sign with him? I thought I read something about that not that long ago. Signed with NJPW.
A year ago.
A year ago. Okay, so is it possible? So the speculation right now is that she's likely signed to NXT UK, and now the belief is that he forfeited the title and is looking to weasel out of that contract and to show up wherever she shows up?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. That's fascinating. Klump, you were about to throw something in there a minute ago, Klump. You got something?
I was gonna make a joke about like maybe he finally like realized all the zeros in that contract's at yen.
I'm glad
Thank you, man. Thank you for appreciating that. But
Definitely appreciate that.
I'm glad we circled
Well,
back.
and also like I don't know why you'd want to.
Go ahead. Let Klump
If I'm a
hear
female,
that
if I'm a
joke.
female-
give it.
yeah, if I'm a female talent, like I don't know what benefit New Japan has to me. Not even like if we're gonna build something around you, I don't know if I want to be the first person you build around and just sit there and not do anything and ruin my career. You
It
know,
can be
like
tough.
just not doing. Yeah, and the only paid female talent they have, if they are valets, which that's awesome that they're doing that. That's cool and all. I don't know if it's the right look I want to have if I'm trying to be a competitive wrestler. You know,
Right.
that's
mean,
just
if you
like
think about
my
it-
perspective of it.
I like that. I like that perspective because I mean, even from a slightly better standpoint, and in defense of AEW, everything is very new. But when you think about their women's championships, not a lot of star power comes to mind. You know what I mean? Like I think there are people who forget because it's been a while. But Riho was the first champion. No one remembers much of the run other than she had it. She ultimately lost to Nyla Rose. I almost said Nia Jax. I was like,
Are they the same person?
I mean, I wouldn't want to fight either of them. I'm gonna be honest, but Nyla Rose had it.
You're not going to walk out of that match.
Yeah, right. But I think ultimately that title reign was kind of lackluster as well. And I don't blame these talents right now because I mean, at the same time, Hikaru Shida's been the title holder for quite some time, and the most prominent thing she's done was accidentally break Britt Baker's nose and then sit ringside the last year during all the women's matches. You know what I mean? She's had very, very little. So I kind of see exactly what you mean by like, do you want to be the first woman that they're really like hitching a wagon to when they're still trying to get their footing? It's really tough on those women to get their footing in this situation, especially when you have someone like Thunder Rosa who's not even contracted, but is, I don't even know if it's arguable, is the biggest woman star they have in AEW. And she's not an AEW's talent.
Yeah, you forgot Brandy.
Who the fuck? Brandy? Is that what you said?
Marsh will drive
Brandy?
over there and yell at you.
Yeah.
Brandy's not a star to most people. Be honest, she's just not.
Well, she's a star to their show execs, I guess. I
Sort
don't know.
of. She was shoehorned into shit, but no one gave a shit to see her wrestle. People want to see Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa drives up the NWA viewership.
Yeah.
Brandy Rhodes isn't fucking driving up viewership. She just happens to be on the show with everybody else. No one's tuning in to catch Brandy, but people do tune in to catch Thunder Rosa.
I swear to God, I feel like a hate tweet from Cody Rhodes coming at any point now.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll get to Cody. We will get to Cody. Probably. Hard to say.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
All right.
If ever we wanted to meet Cody in a positive way, that's just fucked now. Thanks,
Well,
man.
I already met him once in a positive way. I did it.
Yep.
Bucket list off my check. You know?
Just me at like me finally at a wrestling convention with you having a great time. It's Cody. That childlike excitement comes into my eyes as I rush over and then say, "Yeah, I'm on a podcast, Wrestling on the Rocks," and get fucking decked.
Dude, that'd be so dope, though. You would love
No!
that story. You'd be like, dude, I got punched in the face by Cody.
No,
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
no.
You know how many people beg wrestlers to give them chops when they see them?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man.
a lot.
Win-win.
Nick Gage played me, bro. Just hand Nick Gage a pizza cutter.
Yeah, despite his looks, Klump's actually not a wrestler, so.
What does that mean? I don't think anyone thinks I'm a wrestler. I'm too
I'll
fat.
wrestle you. I'll wrestle you right now, Klump.
You could be a wrestler, you know?
Klump, you could do anything you set your mind to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll help you get there.
Yeah.
Guys, my
Whatever you
therapist
need.
told me I need to give up on dreams, so let's just stop doing this.
Oh,
Oh.
gotcha.
What up, Bishop?
You're going to have to read it because he's not in my chat.
Oh.
So Bishop is in a chat saying Marsh, quote, bucket list off my check. What?
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, we're doing tequila today, dude.
Just in
Go.
time asking who's going to ref then.
I'm Yoda drunk right now.
You're Yoda drunk? Oh my
Yeah.
God. I love that. Oh Lord.
Let's see. Although we had somebody come through the chat here. Where'd it go? I just saw it. Sailor Omega. Amanda's still on about Ricky. Yeah. Goddamn
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, goddamn right. Look at that. I'm still not over it. Almost.
Yo, matter of fact, too, we got...
Hit a great tweet.
Go ahead. Don't know what you're talking about.
He's just tweeting that he's ready to meet some people live and put on some deodorant.
Wow, that's cool.
Wash your shirts too, by the way. Deodorant is only part of the battle.
That's a good point. Got to hit this
It
from
could
multiple
be as like
fronts.
GI Joe. I'm
Hit it
just
from multiple fronts for sure. Well, cool.
I've
I
been
wanted to
many
get
a comic
that.
convention. I know.
Oh yeah. I think that when you go through the metal detectors for all those things, like the little opening thing, they should have a little table up there of the mini deodorants, and really just like not for sale, just there. Like, oh yeah, just grab one.
well,
No, they.
Mandatory.
Yeah, just take
well,
one.
to be fair,
You know how sometimes they hand you a little bag with a map in there?
yeah.
That little bag
The
should have a
deodorant?
mini deodorant in there.
Well, I will say this.
All conventions. Anything that's a convention. There's no convention free of funk.
Well, you
No fun
know
freaking
they
things.
sell those like shower wipes now
Dude,
and
wipes.
deodorant wipes. So I've actually
wait.
had some in my bag. I did this at Bola, the last Bola. Yeah, because there were a couple people who needed it.
I
Yeah.
think they should have like security for like a convention, but not, rather than mace, just have some like right guard on them. Because it'll do the same thing as mace. If I need to mace you, right guard to the eye sucks just as much as spraying right guard on you.
Always smelled better
Yeah,
than before. Yeah,
but
I like that.
I don't know why like Old Spice, for as cool and nerdy as they are, why they don't sponsor a Comic Con and just have this like, we will give travel size things of deodorant because Jesus Christ.
Dude, and now they got that partnership with WWE. Put little fucking WWE logos on it.
Hell yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not?
There's always funk at conventions, except for the funk convention. They're a pretty nice smelling group of people.
Hey, Klump, while I wrap up this topic, I want you to Google the Old Spice deodorant flavors they have, and see if you can think of
Flavors?
one.
Oh my
that-
goodness.
they
It
got
all
different
tastes like
flavors,
aluminum.
right? They're all terrible, but they have names. Find out their names and see if there's any of
Oh
them
my
you think
Lord.
that we could tweak to be about a specific wrestler. So we'll find out. But
I started typing in Old Spice and it finished it as flavors.
hell yeah, dude! I'm
No.
telling you. That's what I'm saying.
So, fuck you.
You're
But yeah.
goddamn right. Dude.
Bishop is in the chat saying fantasy booking convention gift bag.
Yeah. We fantasy book everything here. We'll talk about fashion. We'll talk about convention gift bags. We
Yeah.
got you, man.
Theme parks. I'm still not over
Theme
that one
parks?
either. Yep.
We have definitely
Yeah.
theme parks.
Oh, I'll add on there like a gift card, like from Dockers, or like Levi's, because I'm really tired. I don't like watching just a bunch of guys walk around in like the loosest like and one basketball shorts and clearly no underwear. It's
Yeah.
it-
You
yeah,
gotta
see
air
it a lot,
out
you're
those.
just like, I don't need to see balls just
Mini fans.
kind of covered. Yeah.
A mini fan for right below the pant leg, so that way it airs it out. So
Yes.
Amanda, that was everything you've heard about Osprey that it potentially
Yeah.
also work.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I mean, to be honest, it's like some of your bigger shows are going on right now, and you hurt your neck. Okay, yeah, but
All right.
I mean, to
Well,
be
guess we'll see.
fair, he is not a very safe wrestler.
Right, and
No.
also in fairness, though, in support of the idea of the rumor, no one's been able to share a clip of how it happened. No one's all like,
No.
"Oh, look at this thing in the ring was terrible." Everyone's just all like, "Oh yeah, he must have hurt his neck." Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
like you
It's just
see it
tough.
with Hiromu when Dragon Lee did
Well,
that to
Jesus.
Hiromu. I mean,
yeah,
it unfortunately in my brain because I was sitting maybe 20 feet from it, that I'll always remember that.
that
But
was rough.
there was nothing. So I, honestly, wouldn't surprise me. And I'm not saying this because I don't like the guy. I'm just saying, I didn't see where it was, and I watched
Yeah.
because I was curious. Like, oh, what did he do?
Mm.
Did he like botch up
Mm.
something that he's so great with because
And nothing
he
stood up.
gained weight, to be a heavyweight.
I
So,
loved
I
his
don't
back and forth with Ricochet today, where someone shared the video. Osprey like made a comment on it, something like about how cool it was with their match together, Ricochet and Osprey, and he said something like he can't do 60% of these moves anymore because of his size. And Ricochet said, "I could do 100% of the moves in this match, yours too." And I was all like, "Fuck yeah, dude!"
Well,
Ricochet's
you know.
a badass.
wait, which video was it? Was it from WrestleCon?
Fucking no, it wasn't in English.
From Best of the Super Juniors, Night 6, a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
All right, well,
But even though they actually
Klump is the
WrestleCon
real journalist
Orlando-
here, so it would stand to reason he would have the right facts.
WrestleCon Orlando, there was Team Osprey and Team Ricochet. Unfortunately, because of people that they picked, I had to be on Team Osprey. That was like the worst feeling in the world.
That's rough.
Because you know who was on there. Yeah.
I would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll move it along as the flavors come through. We'll come up with something here. Oh wait, there's already ones that are pretty easy for this. We got some good ones. Oh man, dude, they're all wrestling related already. I'll wait till they all come through, and then you let me know when you're done with them, and we'll go through them. Let's talk about some of the other things that happened as we move on from the rumor I wanted to outsource. Mm-hmm. Cody made a comment where he said, I'm going to read it out.
We're really going to piss him off today.
Yes,
okay.
We're dragging him today.
Yeah, I'm sure he's watching every week. He's watching us every week.
I mean, he doesn't ever hang out with Bruce Pritchard, so we got nothing to worry about. Although, Kevlar on the last show, guys, speculated that TP Poker might be Bruce Pritchard because he's always in there, very interactive, and TP could be short for Tom Pritchard, which would be an alias for Bruce Pritchard. So just something to think about, guys.
I will say, because I know this is fact, that a lot of the boys and the girls do things very stealth. Oh, yeah. So that I know. And I know that sometimes there's certain people that they will watch to see what they're saying or what their, their, opinions on things are. So
yeah, and we're smart.
Just so you know, people are watching.
And they know that, and they know this about our show because we drink live on the air. They know we're unfiltered. You know what I mean? They go, okay, these guys try to play nice, but they get drunk enough and they will not play nice anymore. So they know we mean well. So I would say I wouldn't be shocked to find out some people have listened just saying, hey, we want fan opinions from people who seem to be smart about it, but also are liquored up enough to let a few words slide.
Yeah, we're not actually trying to shit on stuff. We just
I don't mean to.
It just happens, unfortunately. But most of the people do know that even sober, yes, me, I've gotten opinions. So
yeah, because they hear it during the match, Amanda. You yell during the matches, even.
I'm trying to think of when we have had a sober Amanda.
We don't need sober Amanda around these parts.
All right. Honestly, like I after an experience I stopped drinking at shows or heavily pregame because it got really bad. And I'm like, oh my God. And of course, I'm loud. So yeah, I'm sure they probably had to edit me. Tone her down.
Okay. So let's talk about this next topic, guys. Cody Rhodes.
I got the flavors up.
Do it. They're all up?
Okay. Yeah, they're on the chat. So I got Sea Spray, Mountain Peak, Swagger, Fiji, Dynasty, Guy Fieri, Royalty, Night Panther, Kraken Guard, High Endurance, Bear Taint, Clear Harbor, Wolfpecker, Edgelord, Mountain Dew Stains, Barroom Floor, and that's it.
For those just joining us, you want to explain what those are?
Those are the Old Spice flavors.
Old Spice scents. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's them. So that means you have a lot of room to go here to create wrestling flavors as well. I mean, Dynasty, that's already one of them. You know what I mean? The Samoan Dynasty flavor. Jack Swagger, you know what I mean? Already there. Mustache Mountain Peak, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Ocean Sea Spray, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or you could do Sea Osprey.
Yeah.
Mr. Fiji, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Guy Fieri, already a wrestler.
Wait, there really is a Guy Fieri?
Absolutely. There's no reason to doubt this list. There's no reason to doubt this list whatsoever.
Where did you
Royalty?
find this?
You could just change that to a King of the Ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's more. There's even more. Jesus, there's so much more.
Steven Regal. This is Royalty, right? You could do that.
Yeah.
Night Panther. You could maybe do... you do call it King Lawler. Yeah. Let's see. Night Panther. You could do like...
Hawk Ridge.
Like Night of Champions Panther or something.
Okay.
Kraken Guard. You could just put Nose Guard, maybe. High Endurance. Dolph Ziggler, from what I hear. But I'm just saying, you could come in here and do some. So... They're there. Kuro's in the chat. Cheers, Kuro. Thanks for coming through. Let me read to you guys what Cody said about his promo from 9 days ago on Dynamite. Remember he did the one where he was talking about how he's having a baby, and then he cried, and then said he's going to go up against a go-go, and then he kept crying. And he said, I'm going to kill a go-go because he's British and we're at war. It was really confusing. He said this in an interview. He said, this is probably going to sound not cool. And he's right. Because of a lot of wrestlers, especially wrestlers from my dad's era, will lie to you and say, oh, I just came up with that promo right there on the spot, which is bullshit. But whatever, I workshop my promos heavily for weeks on end. We have a full focus group for them.
No.
As crazy as that sounds, this is a database company, so I workshop everything I do. And because my promos have been held to a really high standard, people pick at them and find things in them, and they put a microscope on them, which I love. So that was not met with great criticism online, as everyone said, what the fuck is this? So today, Cody came back with another comment, because I believe that was like yesterday he said that. This is what he says, and I love it how it starts. I'm going to chalk this up to me not knowing what a focus group is. This is what he said. Because I woke up this morning.
I already love this.
I love it. The second it started with this, like, I'm going to say I probably don't know words I use. Let me start here. I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time.
Lo siento, solamente habla español.
Yeah, right.
No hablo inglés.
People pick apart my promos, which I love, so I decide to use words that I don't understand. So he says, I'm going to chalk this up to me not knowing what a focus group is, because I woke up this morning to a very large amount of people in my mentions, almost all of them with a Roman or a Sasha Banks avatar, making fun of me for using the term focus group. So he's already taken shots at the fact that at their avatars. You know what I mean? Like, he's already punching down, right? But
I'll take a shot at him with the avatar of fucking Strunk in White.
I will make a bunch of accounts with avatars of him and saying the same shit, though. It'll just echo all the other ones. It did say, I did not focus group this promo. What I intended to say, and I did not say it correctly, so chalk it up to me being a dummy. Dummy, yeah.
Yeah.
Neck tattoo story checks out. Keep going, Cody.
Yep.
I work on my promos very hard. A lot of old timers say I was doing it on the fly. I would say this, so he's not even saying like that he fucking has any confirmation. I would say, so they'll tell you this. What I'm going to say, he said, I would say they work on theirs very hard in the gym or in the car. When it comes to my promos, the process is usually I voice memo it out to people I trust the most. Legends, coaches, and members of management, and I like to see what they think. There is no AEW.
Illiterates.
It's not exactly a focus group. Not exactly. A focus group is more about the viewership. This is more about his yes men. He said there is no AEW focus group that is listening to my interviews. I would chalk up my passion and love for promos. What the fuck? How does he say this? Okay, I would chalk up my passion and love for promos. I got to see a really great working relationship firsthand between Brian Gewirtz and The Rock. And I know that is an incredibly lofty comparison, but it's one to shoot for with him being an exceptional entertainer and promo. I like to take mine seriously and be all business about them. I want to continue to deliver good content when I put the mic to my lips. You shouldn't be touching the mic to your lips. That's disgusting.
How
doesn't
did
need
you
to be that
see
close.
Brian Gewirtz work with The Rock? The Rock was gone by the time he came in.
Correct.
Like, I'm
Well,
fairly certain. Like, because yeah, Brian Gewirtz was The Rock's writer and was head writer of WWE for a period of time. The Rock left before Cody came in.
correct.
other
But during the
than
time that The Rock
WrestleMania?
was okay, right? But the time that The Rock, well, for one, it could be during the WrestleMania stuff with John Cena, because there was a lot of promo work in those, so there could have been part of that. But also during the time that The Rock was going on, Dusty Rhodes was part of creative, so he could have brought his kid.
Yeah,
You know,
that's where I could see that.
Yeah.
So I think either way, it doesn't like fall as there's no way he saw that, but it does say it feels like a couple particular times. But so Cody Rhodes doesn't understand what a focus group is or what it means and uses the word anyways. Also says that he heavily scripts his promos, which, by the way, have I not said, I believe it was on episode 1, that for a show that says they don't script their wrestlers, that very many of their promos sound heavily scripted, and Cody Rhodes included sounds rehearsed to me?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this isn't a new thing if you've been listening to us since episode 1, which is this episode.
Yeah.
Every episode is episode 1.
Well,
I
he
just
did
love it because it
prove
proves
that
me
he worked-
right, guys. He proved me right.
I workshop my stuff like this as I'm walking back things. I'd love to hear the first drafts of these.
That was so good.
How bad was the first of that?
Yo, also, I feel like he misunderstood some. Have either of you seen the A&E Roddy Piper documentary yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. You did see
He's
it, Klump?
good. He's really
Really
good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Remember how his
of them.
kids found his binders that had all those
Yes.
one-liners in them?
Yeah, he wrote like notebooks and notebooks and basically he did what a stand-up comedian does. He wrote bits.
Yes.
Exactly.
Fucking perfectly stated, Klump. Yet again, our journalist on staff.
So
Perfectly stated. He did what comedians do. He writes down great one-liners as he thinks of them and little bits as he thinks of multiple lines that could go together. So when you see his promos, they would be able to find in the notebook where that line was. It wasn't the entire promo beginning to end, scripted and rehearsed. He would write down stuff and read through it to keep it all fresh in his mind. So when he had the mic in his hand, he didn't ever have to struggle for the next spot. He already had phrases and one-liners he knew he hadn't used yet in the back of his mind, just part of his arsenal. So as he's talking, he'd go, it's a perfect place for this, you know? Oh! Dork Chop coming through. Hollywood Dork Chop.
Hollywood door chop.
ooh.
Cheers to
baby.
Dork Chop. Thank you for coming through, man. He goes, there are great freestyle rapper who don't think of everything off the dome. Some planning is required, but I don't think AEW talent writes everything out like he would get a script from the WWE writers' room.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think they get a script from the writers. They write out scripts for themselves.
Bishop,
And I do think that's smart, especially for the guys who are starting out.
Bishop is also in the chat saying Cody is not good at this and AEW can't go. My bad. It's always a long drawn out pseudo apology. That's coming from Bishop in the chat.
Yeah, but I didn't catch the words in between words. What was that?
Cody is not good at this and AEW just can't go. My bad.
Oh, they can't just say, like, my bad, this didn't go well. Cody does do that. He says things and then has to backtrack with a really wordy, like, okay, let me try
He
this
never
again.
explained the tattoo.
Which is funny.
And Dork Chop says sorry, he's on mobile and can't type.
No, he's good. He nailed it, and I agree with him. There's a ton of freestyle. Eminem famously would do that. Would write rap lines, things that rhymed and stuff, so that way as they're going, they can use a line as they thought of the line to go after it. It was like the glue between stuff. Go ahead, Klump. What were you gonna say?
Well, so like, not everyone's gonna be like an MF Doom or like the best like or Dusty Rhodes. Ha, your kid's not. Like in terms of their promos. Yeah, fuck him. But
Sugarcoat it.
I will say this, like, what you nailed it. I think is really kind of. I want to say like this happens at WWE too. They walk their stuff back, but Cody gets so much more kind of flack for calling it back because he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have to be John Cena apologizing for something, but he does it for everything. He does it like everything's an international incident, and it goes beyond trying to communicate with fans to like, okay, just we get it, sad boy, you're okay. We appreciate it, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, dude. Relax. Why?
He didn't do it in Cantonese or whatever, so you know.
Mandarin.
No, man, sorry.
Hey, he did I mean, it's cool, but it didn't land well.
No.
Mainly because in one paragraph he said sorry 10 times.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Jeremy
he's
does
very
ask
smart.
in the chat, wasn't one of AEW's selling points was that the promos wouldn't be scripted for anyone, which I think also falls back to what Dork Chop was saying. What they don't have, and this is where I think that they've had a big issue with being clear about what they mean versus what they say, because they say things and let you piece together the rest in your mind, intentionally being, I wouldn't say deceptive, but intentionally being vague to make you pick up the rest. So when they say we won't have scripted, when they say that we won't have scripted promos, what they were saying is we're not going to have writers. We're not going to have anybody write promos for the wrestlers. The wrestlers will be doing that themselves. The wrestlers are going to be taking care of the promos themselves. The wrestlers will be cutting their own promos. Promos will be coming from the wrestlers. Doesn't mean they won't be scripting their own promos. There's a number of people who sound heavily rehearsed, and Cody is one of them.
Yeah.
I've criticized it before, where
Name
their
names.
cadence.
Name names.
Well, for one, as I was trying to finish the sentence there, Cody, for one, his cadence is unnatural and weird, but he says it in the way that he wants to because that's how he's practiced it over and over again. I don't have a good reading voice, and it's very clear when I read these things. My cadence changes when I read out loud, and I know that. I don't read naturally. That's how Cody comes off. He practices it so much that he sounds like he's reading out loud. Do you know what I mean?
It kind of reminds me of just the way that LA Knight has changed his line. He changed it for NXT. So instead of saying,
I don't know which line you're talking about.
Eli Drake, it's LA Knight.
Well, there's that, but there's the. Are you talking about the fact of life thing? Yeah, I never heard him say that before. To be honest, I'm sure he did.
He said
But
it once. He said it on NWA.
You say yeah and dummy yeah, but he dropped the dummy at this point.
sorry.
But yeah, I mean, you make little tweaks as you go, but I do think that a few people sound heavily rehearsed. I think one person who does come off to me very rehearsed, but actually natural at it is MJF. I don't think any of that stuff's off the top of his head.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The way he talks and the way he says it, none of that comes off to me like it's off the top of his head. Not the way that like you said, Dusty Rhodes and stuff, or The Rock. Well, even The Rock, actually, he was really rehearsed. Like Foley. Guys like Foley or Cena, you can tell they're just talking, and it just happens to go well because they're confident in what they're about to say, and they know they're going to get out of it. I think MJF still, I think he has heavily planned what he's going to do and when. He might not tell everybody what he's going to do. Like when I was watching some of his promos in MLW, he would interrupt people at certain points, but he would interrupt people with a line that you knew he knew. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they may not know he was going to interrupt there, but he knew what his next line was going to be. He was just finding the spot for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, especially so much of this talent's never been on national TV. That's got to be nerve-wracking. And in general, I don't think it's bad for a lot of these guys to have help with that stuff. What Miro even said, his whole first promo was scripted. He said he worked out the whole promo with Jericho, that Jericho put in the lines about the brass ring. He didn't even want to do that. You know what I mean? Like they're writing the promos and practicing them. They just don't have a creative team, which I think makes it more interesting. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But I do think that means that some of the guys who are going to struggle are definitely going to struggle. And I do think you could end up unintentionally having a creative team of wrestlers where the same people are being approached by the same amount of people for their promo work, and you might start hearing some echoing. You know what I mean?
I think.
Go ahead.
So to say, I'll add some that I feel sound very scripted, but Sean Spears does.
Yes.
I think, and I'm not saying the shit on Marsh. He does. Sean Spears sounds scripted to me. Whereas the Revival don't. I think the Revival sound good or they sound natural in their delivery. Sean Spears does. The
Totally
Inner
sounds
Circle, everyone but Jericho sounds really scripted in what they throw out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound necessarily bad, but it sounds weird, or they're just yelling little basic things. Any really long promo to me, I'm like, yeah, this sounds like you went over this for a while before. You know?
Yeah. It's still not coming out natural, and I think that's the thing. The
Kenny.
delivery's not natural.
Kenny.
sound, Cody or Moxley doesn't sound scripted, but then I don't think he sounds.
Is. I
But
think
he doesn't
so.
sound good.
Yeah, because it's the same. It's the same.
His
beat.
writer is shit.
Yeah, it's.
I
like,
actually think he's
you
a
know.
mix. I think sometimes Mox comes off rehearsed, and other times he sounds off the cuff. I think he's really mixed. But I think you can hear the difference. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean. Like, they haven't all gotten to that point where it's all like they're actually going off the cuff. But I do think they all have the freedom to. I think they're absolutely allowed to go off the cuff should they choose to. I just think that they're also smart enough to know that they're not all confident enough to pull that off.
Yeah, they're not all Eddie Kingston.
They all can't be Eddie
And they're not
Kingston.
all Ricky
I think
Starks.
Eddie Kingston and Ricky Starks. I don't think Ricky probably knows one-liners the way that Piper did. But
No.
I don't think he would write out his own stuff. I don't think Kingston would, just based off the way they sound when they're talking.
No, Ricky's. I can say this because I know. No, I mean that just comes out there. It's natural. Like just even like hanging out with him, something will come out of like thin air, and it's like, where the fuck did that come from? And it wasn't.
That must be why Bailey
That's
likes
how his
him.
mind thinks. He's a smart cookie.
I'm all for it. I mean, it wasn't all just like necessarily to shit on Cody and the focus group stuff, but it was
No.
just to have some fun with it, to be honest.
I know.
Like I said, I think it's a good thing that they have that freedom. I do think it's a smart thing that a lot of them do prep.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's what makes them feel when you watch other things. Like when you watch the Usos and Roman and Cesaro and Seth, they could be scripted, maybe, but I doubt it. The New Day, when you see stuff like that, you get lost in it easier, I think. I think that's what makes AEW not seem. I think that's one of the reasons why people who saw it, who turned it out, would say called it a bootleg WWE. I think it's why when I ask my friends what they think when they tune into it, they go, I don't know, it seemed pretty bootleg, or not bootleg. They said like Bush League. You know what I mean? Like they said it seemed like indie stuff. I think those are the things it's going to take them being able to deliver it in a way that the way that the New Day and Orton and Usos and I'm throwing out the WWE like literal top tier. I'm not trying to say WWE in general. I'm saying literally the top tier guys who are so good at that. I'm not saying WWE is perfect and that everyone in WWE cuts these amazing promos. But I'm saying those guys, you find me a writer who can write the way that the Usos talk. Because I have a lot of questions. Because there's nothing they say that I don't feel like didn't 100% just happen. You know what I mean? But there's probably no way that that's true. There's probably definitely stuff. So I'm saying to get to that level where you can be fed lines and deliver it in a way that you wouldn't even believe it was scripted if someone told you it was, that's where they need to get to. And hopefully they get there in the next year or two, you know? So
It's something I want to shit on Cody for, though, that I saw.
I was trying to be nice overall and have a fun conversation about the focus.
Well, this is a
What do you
fun
want?
conversation because I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Yeah,
So, and I blame Bishop for this. If Bishop is still in here, I blame you for this topic.
Oh, that's good.
Because you totally pushed my buttons, and I'm like, God damn it. So, remember Cody and his lovely Black History Month shirt?
Yeah.
We're now doing Gay Pride. So it's his little tattoo with the rainbow color.
Fuck off.
No, I'm not fucking off. I'm serious.
Yeah.
This is why I'm shitting on him. It's like, dude, like every cause, like, where with my Asian Pacific Islander month?
Cody
it's
Rhodes
still
shirt?
the month, okay?
There's a level.
Women's month, Jesus Christ, dude.
Bishop's in the chat saying present.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. See, quit doing that, dude, because it's real. You're alienating a lot of people, and it just pisses me off because I'm like, who the fuck are you to do that?
It tokenizes the cause there because you have people who are part of these communities that could speak more to it, or if you want to make it a company value thing, an AEW shirt would be really cool, but why does it have to be a Cody shirt? Fuck.
Exactly.
One of the elite is part of the LGBT community. Why don't we have a Kenny shirt for it?
Yeah.
And I'm not throwing anything new out there.
Rose.
That's Nyla Rose, Sunny Kiss. You have people in this community that could
And
speak
actually, some
to
of
it.
some of the women too.
And I would say this too is, if they don't feel comfortable, because that is somebody's right, that they may not feel comfortable being a voice for it, but you want to show that is the space for you to use the company to do that. Allow everyone, we're all under this banner to do this, but when you do this, it comes off like, I get the goal. It's to be an ally. It's to be part of, to show your support for these communities, but it diminishes the effect for everyone.
The problem is it's so transparently not to be a voice. It is transparently to boost Cody Rhodes' t-shirt sales as the ally. That's the fucking problem. And especially it's a problem because for a company that is arguably the most openly diverse roster in the world, you're literally silencing your diverse group to push your one white all-American.
The whitest, yes.
Literally the American dream. You're literally silencing them to give him a louder voice and a fatter pocket. If you cared about being an ally, like you said, Klump, you would, worst case, put out an AEW shirt that's in a rainbow logo. An AEW logoed shirt. You could do that easily. I could whip one up here in seconds. Or you'd have all your people who represented that community have their version of the shirt. So that way someone can not only promote the cause, but boost the sales of some of these people who aren't on TV every fucking week.
Yeah.
Boost their notoriety. Have a little tab in your things like, oh, here's our fucking monthly cause, whatever it is, because, new month, there's always something good. And then it goes through the catalog there. And they can say, oh, I didn't realize that person was a part of the community. I like them even more now. But all we're seeing is, oh, Cody represents literally every community? How interesting.
And it doesn't have to be... Balor is not, as far as we know, he's not part of the LGBT community, but he presents himself as an ally, and he focuses on that because it's an important cause to them, and it has meaning, and people bond to it because of what he does.
And he fought for that.
Yes. And if Cody, if you want to be supportive of a cause, you can do that. If you want to be an ally, you can do that. But you don't have to be an ally for everything, because then it just sounds like I really gripe with this and struggle with this because it tokenizes it and minimizes it and makes it so that people who really are wanting to be a part of this aren't heard. And it's just adding merit badges to him. And I'm trying to say this in the politest way I can, but it's basically it's affluent white diversity. It's a friend of mine threw this out to me. A place I support threw out some shirts that were meant to express pride for the black community. And I bought one because I think this is awesome, and I wore it and I felt weird about it. And not that I support the cause, I support the idea behind it, but a friend of mine who's a person of color said, the reason that you might be struggling with it is that's an awesome shirt that you can take off. Yeah. It's really easy to be an ally and not actually be an ally. And when you're an ally for everything, what cause are you investing in? Because you don't have the fucking time to do it. And that's what sucks with this. And it really makes me struggle with Cody because, you have so much more. You could do so much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure Cody feels real good when he can cut a check to a charity based off the extra money he got one month because of a specific design, and they can do the math on that. But
then
why wouldn't you feel better having that money go across that community who you guys underpay as it is, to be honest, and all of their dark and elevation talent who are part of those communities are also paid by the show. They're not paid on salary the way he is. And he's got fucking health care because he's a company employee. He's not an independent contractor like all of the rest of their staff. This would be the same thing as if instead of Finn Balor and Sonya Deville having their things and them doing the remember what was the month that they put out all of the different wrestlers' shirts in Spanish? They did that one month, and for March they'll do them all in like green and stuff. If every time that happened, they only did a Triple H shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like the Coleman shirts. They only would do, I don't know, like Cena in a pink one, and then his old lady at the time.
Yeah. No, it's this is not to just slight Cody. In a lot of, not just wrestling, a lot of big companies this happens, and it's a money grab, but it's such a blatant one. And when you say you're trying to do better, there are places who do this as allies and do it well. There are people who work to support in a better way. I mean, I would really love to see Cody, the Elites, everyone come out, and they had a shirt for Sunny Kiss or an AEW Pride shirt, and just we're wearing this. And everyone could wear it and show it. That would mean something to me more than this shit. It's just, and it's funny. It's like
little things. Go ahead.
Yeah, it really puts a sour taste on my mouth with Cody, because it's, and I like to, I think I forget it, but yeah, it's something that as I think about, it's fucked up. And I'll say I feel bad because around this time last year when we were doing the show, I kind of shit on how Sonya Deville came out, and it felt like it was just like an unnecessary, like throwing their presence in things. No, because even if that were the case, even if it was like, hey, show your pride, be a part of this and be present, fuck, it's better than what's happening here, because this is not even somebody doing that, it's money.
Yeah, I mean, even then Sonya had come out and talked about how she had fought to be a I don't know how to say, a bigger face for the community as far as on screen goes, because I think before her, the only one that had a shirt that was kind of like that was Balor, and she wanted to be a face for the community because she's part of that community. They went so much as getting her a fucking float. They got a WWE float for the Gay Pride Parade in Florida, and she was front and center of it, and she chose who was on the float. Like, she had her friends there and stuff. So
that's awesome.
It's those little things that make a difference, and it means something. You know what I mean? But like, if every fucking time they said, no, we're just going to go ahead and do a Triple H shirt with a rainbow, I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's upsetting. It's stupid. Jeremy does say in the chat, Cody just does things to boost his own image, and when people call him out for it, he makes some sort of bogus excuse to get people off his ass.
Yeah.
I feel that too. And I don't mean to shit on Cody this whole time. Maybe that's a Tony Khan decision. I doubt it. But whoever's making that decision needs to fucking stop and start realizing you have, because that's what's so great about AEW is they have such an openly diverse roster.
I'm
embrace it.
Shitting on Cody in this case, and I'd like to see him do an apology and actually do something different, because fuck.
Instead of this long-winded whatever. But to be quite honest, like when I saw that shirt first thing, and actually somebody had text messaged me because I was thinking the same thing. Shout out to you. I'm not gonna say who it is, but shout out to you, girlfriend. It seems like he's targeting one of his super fans when I see that. I'm gonna go there, and I'm like, because she buys everything. Not going there again. But I'm saying, if that's what your target audience is and you want to do it, well, good on you, dude. But don't shove it down everyone else's throat. That's all.
Make one of those for literally everybody. Like I said, and even like the March ones for WWE, they come out with like 12 or 13 green shirts of everyone's logos and stuff. Yeah. And like, okay, whoever is your favorite, get a green shirt. Yeah. Do that with this. Just be like, hey, as AEW, we're all fucking allies. Make everybody have a shirt that has that. Why not?
Yeah, why not the black people, who are on the roster or part black. Sorry, I'm just saying black. I mean African American.
No, black's fine.
Okay,
black
okay. Well, no, because I'm another, I'm yellow, slant, whatever. But anyways, I digress. But why couldn't there's not that many of them. So why couldn't like Scorpio Sky have a shirt? Hobbs.
Sunny Kiss
again,
Red Velvet.
Like, the Captain, things like that. It's like, how hard is that? Jade Cargill, I mean, she was kind of around then. I mean, I don't see it as being difficult because they're using 1 hour teas. And I'm sure, I mean, I know Ryan Barkin's probably really happy getting money, but it's like, come on,
they also have a t-shirt designer on staff. They have someone on staff. That's all they do is make those t-shirt designs. But let's wrap it up and move it on.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Cody's stupid shirt this whole time.
No.
Let's see a couple other things that happened real quick. Don Callis is no longer an Impact executive in any way, and has only showed up for some filmings with Kenny, and then they left right away. They did all their stuff first and left.
That's great. That makes me so happy.
So I guess the door, the forbidden door, was slammed in Don's face, right?
I don't know. I wonder what we're gonna see as far as any kind of shift, because was it Kenny's gonna have to defend that title pretty soon? I don't know if they're gonna take it off him and say, hey, we don't want to have our open relationship with AEW that way. Maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that Don Callis was the only one making any decisions as far as the AEW partnership goes.
Yeah.
Or who knows what kind of contracts he signed before he was outed. You know what I mean? Like, what if he did some sort of contract thing with AEW, with AEW's lawyers to make sure it's ironclad, signed it away, and boom, hey, now you guys are locked into this 5-year deal, you know? I have no idea. But it does make it really interesting to me, and it makes me really curious what we're going to see moving forward.
Yeah. I'd like to see Sami Callihan go over to AEW and basically just fuck this shit. I'm taking this back. Don't follow me. You know?
I wouldn't be surprised if basically this ended. Like, because to me that screams something isn't good. Some people aren't happy. I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing this because now they have to. And once it's over, once the belt's back on an Impact Talent, fuck off. We're done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's what makes me. That's why I'm so curious. I think it's very interesting. And I don't know what kind of impact it's going to have. Pun or no pun.
Impact. Huh?
But it does make, to me, it's very interesting, and I think that moving forward, I'm more curious about the whole Forbidden Door thing now than ever, because now it's like, oh, the person who's been doing this was all clearly an executive lining his own pockets, and now it's like, all right, well, we've booted him. It's kind of like, well, that's interesting. I really want to see how it all unfolds, but I don't have anything to say on it other than fucking fascinating. So moving forward, we're definitely going to have stuff to say about it.
But I will say this, on the lovely YouTube wrestling, they actually had Rocky Romero was facing Trent. So if people know that they were eight time junior heavyweight tag team champions. And, you know, I love Roppongi Vice. I'm not going to lie. I love those two. But they also had Ren Narita, which is one of the Japanese Lions. And he wrestled somebody, I think on Dark it was. But Elevation is the one that had Rocky on it. And, you know, and quite honestly, I was really excited about that because I thought, man, you know, it'd be really good to see, you know, Rocky Romero, you know, on there. Also, you know, some of these other people.
Is he an Impact talent?
What?
Is Rocky Romero an Impact?
No. He's New Japan, but he's the guy that's responsible for the Gaijin. So he's there, like, I guess, I don't want to say escort, but like they're kind of like their tour guide, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Chaperone.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
It's just that we're not talking about Elevation yet, so I just didn't know how we got there. So I was just
no. I was saying as an example because on Elevation, they had, you know, New Japan and Dark had New Japan.
I got you.
Yeah. And so that's where I was like, you know, maybe the door isn't closed, or I don't know, because having Rocky is a big thing.
Right, but that's just saying one side of it. We're curious what's going to happen with Impact. As far as their New Japan stuff, it's obviously not affected by Don Callis. Although, shout out to Rocky Romero, former D-Generation Mex member. Found out about that recently on the Pro Wrestling for Life podcast. If you guys want to check it out with X-Pac. He talked about his time in AAA where he was D-Generation Mex. It was hysterical.
Nice.
So, I do want to throw this out here real quick because I was going to do it a little bit earlier, but it looks like now is the time to do it. TWTs does have a promo code for Wrestling on the Rocks listeners. It has previously, for the past 2 weeks, behind Klump's back, been stuck at Klump because of all of his slander upon Delaware. However, breaking news. New promo code, Unsuck at Klump. That is one word with a K. Gets you 25% off because Bishop, who was in the chat at the time, because you can watch this live as we go, was so impressed by Klump's breakdown of Cody and his bullshit T-shirt shenanigans that he changed it to Unsuck at Klump.
Yeah.
And Bishop, I'll wear your shirt next week.
Next week, you heard it here first.
On episode 1.
It'll be on episode.
I feel bad. I grabbed my other pink shirt. I thought I grabbed my TWT Terrible Wrestling Take shirt, and then I grabbed the Run the Jewel shirt.
I'm wearing one of ours.
That's funny. Wrong pink shirt. Yeah. Let's see. So let's run down a couple other things real fast. I don't think that this is something that either of you might have much to say. Even I'm just going to throw it out there because it happened. But Adnan Virk was removed from. He was let go. He was released. Tom Phillips also released today, and Jimmy Smith from I believe ESPN joined the Raw commentary team. I know you guys don't typically watch Raw, and that's where Adnan Virk, Tom Phillips, and where Jimmy Smith will be going. So I don't know if you guys have much of a stance on any of that. I'll say that I'm a little surprised by Tom Phillips being let go because he's so good. Yeah. And I've been saying it a bunch. I've said a lot on here how good I think he is.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, though. Online, this fucking backlash has been ridiculous. The amount of times, think about how many times we've been on here defending Tom Phillips, saying how good we think he is and how underappreciated he is, because online they always fucking slander him and talk about how shitty he is and boring. Well, the second he's released, every single account out there was talking about him like he was just absolutely beloved. How could this happen? This is why I hate the Federation, as they say. This is why I can't stand them. They let everyone go with talent. This guy was easily the best commentator in the entire fucking world. And it was weird to see. Not that I don't like Tom Phillips' love, because I love to see stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm like this lonely voice, just us over here saying like, yeah, he does a tremendous job and no one appreciates it. And then when he gets let go, everybody jumps on this he's amazing thing. And it just felt really weird to see. Because I'm like, guys, I see you guys talk shit on him all the time.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
The fucking internet wrestling community can be such shit, man. Like, you want to
know
jump
what
on
they
any
care.
bandwagon you can. As long as you're hating the thing you feel like you want to be hating at the time, you'll say whatever it takes. And that's just unfortunate because there's no consistency there. I will say we are consistently here for episode 1 every week. But, Klump, what were you going to say about Tom Phillips before I cut you off there?
I agree with you. I feel like the only thing I would ever say is a negative on Todd Phillips was when I was listening, I didn't think Todd Phillips was Todd Phillips. I thought he was somebody else because I was like, I'd think like wait, the guy who's competent and good at this, that's Todd Phillips? Like, I think it would be Cole or somebody else. You get what I mean there?
Yeah.
No, he's good, but again, part of being a good commentary person isn't necessarily that you stand out. It's that you add to the event in front of you, and I think you did a fantastic job there over other people. Like, there are great people who take away from it, you know? Yeah. I feel a bit upset in that it feels WWE's hyper-focused right now on getting these sports guys, and yeah, I get that WWE presents their program as more of a sport than AEW, but I don't know if it helps because it's been like that for a long time, and the greatest commentators historically haven't been sports guys, you know? Other than JR, but JR really, his passion was football, but he's a wrestling guy, you know?
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think that a lot of that had to do, too, with him early on being fed stuff the way he was by Bill Watts. Like, he was led to believe in it. You know what I mean? So he could, even in early stages, like, fall in love with it in a way of being passionately for it. So I agree with you. I don't know that there's anybody who's come from sports outside of Jim Ross. And even then, I wonder how much sports commentating he did before, because I know he did some, and then I know he got jumped onto the Falcons at one point, but I think it was between WWE gigs. Like, he's done sports, and he loves sports. But outside of Jim Ross, I can't think of anybody who's been deemed ultimately successful at it who is really a sports guy. I would say the only person that comes to mind right now, it's still so early to say, is Pat McAfee. And I think so much of what makes Pat McAfee so good is that he's so clearly in love with the product that he allows himself to get lost in it and be excited by it as he's watching it, and that's infectious. And I'm afraid that this sports guy is just not going to be that, you know?
So is Mauro Ranallo not considered a sports guy?
He's more. I don't really think of boxing commentators as sports guys because boxing commentary, it often comes. I also wouldn't I like Morrow a lot, but there's a lot of times I struggled with him too because
Yeah.
it got old fast. So I don't
Mhm.
think he's the best, but he's such a quick hype guy, and in a short UFC match, because a lot of that is surprise and impact, which makes sense for his moments, you know.
Yep.
But in a predetermined show, you get what I
And-
mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah, no.
I'll be the asshole in this one. I still to this day think that Morrow makes a better boxing and UFC commentator than a wrestling commentator. He had moments here and there, and he made for a good soundbite from time to time. But realistically, he pulled away from the action a lot. A lot of people were talking more about Morrow than the matches.
Yeah.
Like you just said about Tom Phillips, what made him so good is you don't think about who's on commentary. You're just invested in what's happening. And Morrow's issue is that he's such a loud personality that people lost focus of what we're watching for and focused on Morrow.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. When you're
No.
the lyrics to the music, you still want people to hear the song, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's like ROH, you know, Ian Riccaboni. He's kind of like Morrow in the sense that, okay, it's too much. And even when Colt used to do commentary with him, sometimes you could tell Colt was really kind of annoyed, like this is too much, you know. And unfortunately, with now he does it with Caprice Coleman. I like Caprice, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they just take it to a different level, and I'm like, you know, that's not really necessary. You don't need to be there. So, but I mean, no one can be like the NXT team. I mean, I'm sorry. I think hands down, still the best, I think, commentary team right now. Hands
you
down.
think is who?
NXT.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Barrett, Vic Joseph, and Beth. I think they're great.
I think I agree 100%. So yeah, I guess I'm interested to see how it goes. But yeah, I didn't know you guys have a lot to say about that just in general because it's shows you guys don't really pay much attention to, which is totally fine. But I think you brought up some really good points, so I appreciate that. I'm gonna do two cheers and a jeers. We're gonna do a couple of birthday wishes because I put it on the bottom instead of at the top, and I do like to have it at the top of the show if I can. But today was Natalia Neidhart's birthday.
Natty!
So cheers to Natty.
Cheers, indeed.
We have absolutely put her over every chance we've gotten. We've even been made fun of online for supporting Natty so much. And I'll be honest with you, I love getting that kind of hate.
Yeah, but she's
because
amazing. I mean,
she's absolutely amazing. I think anyone who doesn't understand how great she is doesn't understand wrestling and watches it at a surface level. And I think it's totally okay to watch at a surface level. There's nothing wrong with being such a casual fan that you don't understand how great someone is. But there is something wrong with you being such a casual fan that you just remain to be that stupid and you want to voice your goddamn stupid opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I draw the line. You're clearly dumb. Keep your dumbness to yourself. The smart of us, we know how amazing Natty is.
Smart of us.
Yes.
The smart.
The
Love
fart
you,
of us.
Natty.
I wonder.
So
if
happy
who's-
birthday, Natty Neidhart. Cheers. Sorry, you guys can say what you want about Natty. Better be positive. I swear to God.
Ba-doop-doop.
The other birthday is Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff had a birthday today,
Nice.
too. So happy birthday to Eric Bischoff.
Cheers.
Cheers, Eric Bischoff. Newly inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
About time.
And they're doing a cool deal. Right now, anybody who's joining ad-free shows, I don't know how long it's going on for, but it might even be the weekend or something. But they're sending out a signed 8x10 of Eric Bischoff with his Hall of Fame sort of induction graphic they did. With he signed it with a gold pen. It looks really nice. Great deal. So if you're going to join it anyways, if you're on the fence, if you're teetering, now might be the time to make that leap. Sorry, I like to promote other podcasts sometimes. They don't sponsor us or anything, but I don't know. I like some of the wrestling community is so positive. I just like to put it out there.
Hell yeah.
So the last thing we'll do before we get into NXT, Velveteen Dream was released. He put out a long message to his fans and to people who were wondering what was going on with him. and he outlined a whole lot of stuff. I read it to both of you before we went on air so we could make sure we were all caught up to speed, but we did not talk about what you guys thought of any of it. My inclination from it, what I got out of it, was a lot of it felt an awful lot like what we were talking about last week when we found out he was released. And like I was saying at the time, I wasn't defending him as a person in general, especially if he did these things, but I was condemning the IWC for not listening to anything that was being put out there that could sway their thought process. If you know what you believe and it's based off of only things you've heard and nothing you've experienced in any way, and you're unwilling to waver, no matter what else you hear, then you're just in the wrong. The amazing thing about information and data is it can change the outcome as you get new in. You know what I mean? What do we say all the time in IT, Klump? Bad data in gets bad data out.
Yep.
If you're unwilling to accept new information as a potential change of your personal stance, then you need to reevaluate the way you think about things to begin with. It's one thing to get information and say, this is how I feel about that initially, for sure. But as new information comes up, if your response is, well, no, I've already decided how I feel about it. I feel the way I felt about it before, and I will not accept this new information. It's what I felt like a lot of this was. A lot of his explanation was clear. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Klump, let's start with you. What did you think about what Velveteen Dream had to say?
Not great. I think it was very much focused on, so for one, if we want to be upfront about the number of people that accused him of things, it's more than the two he mentions in the statement. There were people beyond that too. But beyond that, outside of that, I'll go with the WWE line here and the thought process I have. WWE lawyers and internal investigation, I'm assuming they did enough of an investigation, and if it wasn't a firestorm, they didn't fire him. Yeah. Which, if it was as truly bad, yeah, his ass would have been fired for it. However, his personal conduct, and there's a lot of stories from a lot of people inside the industry now of just him as a person. There's Triple H in an interview saying his personal life is affecting his professional life. Yes. I think that's the big takeaway. And there was nothing here, I think, that talked about that. If we're going to talk about why you got released, I think WWE didn't throw anything out there about his actions or these allegations. He's bringing it back to the public consciousness, and I don't know where in his head saying that this is what caused it helps him, but to me, it's not a great look. It might be better to have just said, yep, that happened. I'm moving forward. Let me grow and show you. But then again, that's just my view of generally in life. If you fuck something up or if you're fired, you get in trouble, you own it and move forward.
In my experience, the grow and show is the problem. I'm kidding. But
in this case, very, very possibly.
But I will say that's true. The interesting bit is after he was released, the amount of people who spoke up talking about how unprofessional he was to them in general.
Yes.
We saw it from artists. We saw it from other broadcasters and such. People coming out saying, like, you know what? Now that he's gone, I feel a little more comfortable saying that I didn't like being around him. Yeah, it was weird. So I feel like that's something worth noting as well. But go ahead, Klump.
Yeah, I agree with it exactly. I think if his ass was quiet, said nothing, or said nothing, it would have gone better. This, I think, speaks volumes for. I won't get into the possibility of his behavior and what that might entail. These speak to the actions of an immature, petty person. Mm-hmm. He could have just said not a fucking thing. And you know what? He probably would have been hired on some indies. He probably could have restarted his thing. Hell, 10 years, he might be back in WWE because they're not talking about this stuff, the stuff that won't get him back, you know. But
Yeah.
he brings it up, and that's shitty. And if we're gonna go based on his statement, he's blaming the people who are accusing him, who, to me, that's, if these people are supposedly minors or right at like a kind of young age, that sounds pretty shitty. That's a bad look again, you know. This is a petty, vengeful person, and I I'm cool seeing them not in this industry anymore, just based on that, you know, and not based on allegations. Just if this is your response to you getting fired, it's the person who comes into an interview and you ask, oh, why did you leave your last job? And they say, oh, so much drama. Let me tell you about how shitty my fucking manager was, and just goes into a 10-minute long rant. Cool, I don't want to work with you. You're not moving forward in this process.
I know. I had a rough time recently too, where I left my job and I was in a job interview for one. Like, tell me about your last job, and I was like, it's going to be a difficult conversation to have. You know what I mean? Like, I was upfront about it too. I was like, look, it was really unhappy about a lot of stuff, but I don't know that it's appropriate for me to come in here and speak my gripes with why I left. Just know that I left because I was unhappy. You know what I mean? Like,
Fair.
what else?
That's
do you need to
a
know?
good way of putting that.
It is fair.
Like, at the end of the day, I didn't leave because it worked. I mean, it's sort of like the old, I mean, not that he's a great person to bring up in this conversation, but the old Louis C.K. bit where no good relationship ends, no good marriage ends in divorce. You know what I mean? So when people go, you know, because his whole bit was about, oh, I got divorced, people say, oh, it's so sad. He goes, no, you should be saying congratulations. He goes, there's no good marriage that ends in divorce. If it got there, then it's bad. So it was that same kind of thing. Well, I wouldn't have walked out if it was good place to work, you know? Like, so, but I digress. The idea being that, I don't know if what he says helps or hurts him. Amanda, what do you think about all the stuff that Velveteen Dream said?
You know, this whole topic just, I don't know. I did, you know, for one thing that kind of bothers me is there's things that aren't real and there are things that were doctored. Okay, yeah. All right, I get that. But what about these other things? You know, I mean, just because you're giving 2 incidents and then, you know, it's almost like how I say this and compare it with it, but like with Joey Ryan, same thing. Like, you know, I mean, what are you going to do? Go sue everybody who said something?
It does ring very much like Joey Ryan.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's the first thing that I get out of it. And then the other part that I get out of it, which angers me, is that who is the internet wrestling community? Who gives us the damn fucking right to play judge and jury to some of these people? Now, if you're a convicted sex offender like Chase and Rance, you know, like, I don't know why Izzy, the little Bailey superfan, don't know why her parents had her train with that guy, because he was convicted. Now, if there's alleged things, but you know, I mean, we don't know. Nobody knows. So it's just when they had that, I remember that list, and I know Marsh and you and I were talking about that list, and it just got so ridiculous that it felt like, God, every wrestler's on there. You know, I mean, where do you stop? You know, and like, obviously, like with me, I have problems with racists. Hi, Trade Words. How you doing? You know, and I have problems with, you know, people who beat on their spouses, whether it be male or female, you know, and, you know, and obviously this stuff, but, you know, we should not be the ones that are really kind of policing it. If we have concern, tell like these companies you have a concern because X, Y, and Z is a whatever, you know? I mean, it's not for us to do, you know?
Yeah, for me, the standout thing was that in there he said that, you know, even though WWE released a statement saying that they investigated it and they found no wrongdoing in the situation, that just wasn't enough for the internet community, that Twitter was going to be his undoing one way or the other. And I remember a lot of people saying that, like, because that's the other thing they spread around there. And the thing is this, bottom line, none of us 3 here 4 if you include producer, who's not even near here, so I can say whatever I want. What?
Uh-oh.
So if you include us, none of us here. What do you?
I'm right here.
I'm right here, producer.
Beat his ass.
Beat his ass.
None of
Yeah,
us
wait,
here-
I just condone. I'm not condemning that. No. When I said that's not, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that none of us here and nobody I've seen online has any information that wasn't provided by some sort of second or third source. None of us know.
Yes.
None of us are a part of any of it. So how do we think that we should be the voice that makes the decision? And when the companies come back and say lawyers looked at this and decided this, we as a uninformed community just go, nope, we've made our decision and we're going to stick to it. Like, that's not good. You know what I mean? I don't know if this guy's good or bad or an asshole or not. I'm not invested in Velveteen Dream one fucking bit. You can go back and listen to our entire catalog. You will never find me saying how much I like Velveteen Dream. I've never liked the character. I've never liked any of it. We held up a sign that was anti-Velveteen Dream when we went to the NXT.
Whew.
It said women aren't props because at the time he was being touted around with women on him, and we thought that was fucking stupid. But
Or like Robert
at the end
Stone.
of the day, yeah, like Robert Stone. He's his own brand of stupid. But the thing is none of this is to support Velveteen Dream. I couldn't give 2 shits less about the guy. I don't know anything about him. I haven't liked anything I've seen of him. Whatever. My problem is as a community, the wrestling community online seems to make their decision based off of third-party information, fourth-party at best, and then say this is my fact, and it will never change when it's based again off of other third-party information. None of us are involved in any of that. None of us are lawyers. The amount of times I heard people saying, "Oh, he got off on a loophole." Who the fuck are you to say if it's a loophole?
What did he get off on? Like,
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
understand that.
And
You
what the
know?
fuck did he? Yeah, for one, yeah, Klump. What did he get off on? I don't know. But I heard a lot of that. It was a loophole. It was some Florida loophole that allows pedophiles to reign supreme. What the fuck are you talking about?
What does that mean?
You know what I
You
mean?
know?
Like, it was this fucking crazy, oh, there's a Florida loophole, therefore he's okay. First off, none of us are lawyers enough to call it a fucking loophole. We don't know how the laws work to begin with. But secondly, the concept of a loophole that allows sexual predators to just exist seems real fucking ridiculous already. And I think I would need a lawyer to break that down to me, not some fucking schmo on Twitter who calls himself a journalist in quotes. You know what I mean?
a lot
He
of
doesn't
times,
even have his face as an avatar. It's
A lot of-
somebody
yeah.
else. Yeah.
It's a
lot
Roman
of
Reigns
times-
avatar. Go ahead.
with regard to sex crimes or kids, we'll throw that out. It's a thing that just freaks everyone out because it's the worst thing in the world. And yeah, I
And it is.
agree. It is. However, you're right. There's not a loophole there. And even we'll put it this way: outside of that, the optics of it. If a lawyer for WWE found a credible thing, one iota of a credible thing, do you think it would have been okay? Because think back 20 years ago, Jerry Lawler, he ultimately got exonerated. There was questions about allegations regarding a minor, and they released his ass pretty quietly. Like Jack, gentleman Jack Gallagher, yeah, they're not afraid to release people for these things or anything related to if it occurs. If nothing comes up, then yeah, they're going to be good, but they do release people. Now, again, to this, what pisses me off, it's not so much like or I find it kind of funny, and I'll throw this kind of almost contrary to y'all. WWE didn't say a fucking thing about what happened here. His ass is going into it and riding full bore into the idea that this is related to the allegations, and it almost brings it back to the public consciousness. You're like, yeah, that wasn't why you got released, but I'm glad that you keep bringing it up. He's bringing the attention he doesn't want on himself, in my eyes. You know?
Yes and no. I'll say that WWE did, at the time of the investigation, put out a statement about him. And that's when all the loophole conversation happened. But you're right, in terms of release, they did not say we're releasing him because of this. He has gone out.
Good.
and they never said that because he did or didn't. I think they still hold true to their investigations found nothing.
I
They
agree.
released him outside of that, but like you said, they
Mhm.
didn't really give a reason why, which A, could mean that it's unrelated. B, it could mean that it's absolutely related. Or C, it could mean some sort of amalgamation of, hey, there's no getting away from the toxicity that has been created due to how everything unfolded, whether or not it's your fault or otherwise, right? But he then did, as you said, go out and say, I'm being released because of this, I'm sure of it. Which, like you said, highlights what happened and just starts that conversation again.
Because technically, I didn't want to go here, but technically, Marty Skrull could have done that because ROH was supposed to investigate him, Jay Lethal, and I know for a fact that did not happen. So, but they parted ways with Marty.
Yeah.
Because there was such a big backlash. But Marty didn't go and say, "Oh, well, I know why they, we parted ways." No, that wasn't
That's
it.
true too. Yeah, he just left it
Yeah,
with what
and
it was.
it angers me. And I get a lot of, like, lately I've been getting, there's two people. So shout out to you two, because you like to follow, you obviously like to look at my Twitter or whatever, who basically stalk me and say that,
Fans of the show.
that I'm like, because of how I feel about the whole Marty Skrull situation. But, honestly, like, I'll say it again, and I've said it a billion times. I know that, what happened. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Their laws, they're different, people, which we forget that, other countries have different opinions about things like sex, gun violence.
All right, but we're not
things
talking
like
Marty Skrull today.
Oh, I know.
So
but I'm
wrap
just
it back
saying,
around to Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that. Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying that he didn't, go and say, "Oh, that's why, they fired me." And I mean, it sounds, again, going back to Joey Ryan, oh, all of these people basically, are like, they've cost me so much money.
Mhm.
And it's like, come on, like, seriously. It's like, don't, it's kind of poor taste, I think.
Very often in my experience, somebody throwing out accusations as to why they got fired to this definitive, like, this is why reason versus other things, that indicates that that's not the case.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold true. I don't think the wrestling community had a reason in WWE removing his ass that much, because Matt Riddle is still there.
True.
And yes, and that still pops up on occasion. And yeah, I don't support the wrestling community kind of going after him, but I don't think that's what happened with Dream.
Yeah, I think there's more to it. I do. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of that is none of our fucking business. I think a lot of that comes down to a lot of us don't know, and we are too proud to say that we are unaware, and that's okay. And we're all so self-righteous enough to say that without having this stance, we are therefore lesser than. And I think that that's also a shame as well. Because you know what? At the same time, we can say, look, that's just something I'm not aware of. I don't know the details. I can't speak on behalf. And that should not be a terrible stance to have to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, people will then shit on you for just take a stance one way or the other. Well, I don't have the information. It's not fair for me to take a stance. It should be an acceptable response, an acceptable mental stance. And for whatever reason, Twitter doesn't like to think that.
And the other thing too, like this, just as a last wrap up for me, what bugs me in his statement, because he's wrapping it back into the idea of these false accusations in his words, these things there, he's saying things that are unnecessary to the event that add to it, like defining the character as this sexually ambiguous, like he says, I think the line you put up, or in it, is sexually ambiguous character. I'm like, that doesn't really have a bearing there. It comes off way too much in defending it, that if you said I got fired, Okay. Said nothing. But adding that onto it, I immediately started thinking about the character, and I'm like, I don't think so. And it just landed weird. It landed like often a bad way of arguing something is adding to the case because it doesn't lend to it. It lands weird. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think what he was trying to go for, if I could Cody Rhodes him for a second, was I think that he was trying to say because the character is sexually ambiguous, it allowed for the conversation to become believable. And because his character was sexually ambiguous and he was trying to remain recognizably in character for the things like the voice memo, that it could come out like he's being verbally seductive in his tone when it was more or less just that's how his character talks, or how he talks when he's in voice memo, which, like we said like we said earlier before we started, is I could understand the argument to be made of if I don't talk this way and someone's asking me to make a audio clip for them to know it's actually me, I'm going to need to do the voice that they're going to recognize. Like Gilbert Gottfried, like I used an example before, was he's famous for his voice, but that is actually a completely made up voice. And you can find, there's a documentary on Netflix or Hulu. There's a documentary on Hulu about Gilbert Gottfried, which is fascinating. And in there, he drops character altogether and he talks in his normal voice. And before then, I'd heard it a couple times here and there, but he also knows what people are paying to see, right? So if someone were to like be messaging him and want to know it's true, he's not going to be able to use his real voice. So all that to say, if he felt like he had to use his sexually ambiguous voice to be in character so the person would recognize them and know it's actually him, I see the argument, but like you said, you might be getting a little too convoluted here for your own good. Is that about right, Klump? Did I lose everybody?
No, you're good.
No, I'm here.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
I'm here.
Is that about right, Klump?
Yeah, I had to hear Gilbert Gottfried's normal voice, but I get you.
Oh, did you hear it?
Yeah, it's weird.
Startling.
It's not
Startling.
like it just sounds. It's that voice, just like it's turned down like
Thousands.
several volumes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different decibel. Yeah, it's incredible. And it's a fantastic documentary. So if you get the chance to watch that one, Klump, you should watch it.
Hell yeah.
Guys, Amanda, is there a bow you want to put on that? I feel like you did well. We can move on to NXT.
Oh, we can move on. I'm tired of talking about Velveteen Dream, to be honest.
Yeah, let's
And
do
all
it.
of the-
Was there anything without AEW Dynamite? Was there anything on the YouTube AEW that you thought was spectacular and people should know about it to go watch it?
Well, besides watching that Rocky Romero and Trent, and that was on Elevation, that particular match, it was actually really nice to see Layla Hirsch have a good match. Diamante had a great singles match. So there's actually some pretty good matches as far as that's concerned. If you want to see Sonny Kiss get completely squashed by Brian Cage, yeah, you can watch that too. I didn't think it was very entertaining, but it is what it is. But like I said, I think Elevation is a better product than Dark. But Dark, yeah, I'm going to lean toward that because I have interest in watching Dark. And I think Taz and Excalibur are funny because it's kind of like our show here. They don't have a filter. So, they just kind of say what's going on. And yeah, and they're drunk, so. Yeah. And then they get eye candy. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Klump, was there anything? Did you see any of the AEW anything that you thought was worth noting or no?
Nah.
Yeah, that was everything I had on it too. Let's talk NXT, guys. Let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goddamn producers yelling at me again, guys. I'm fucking in trouble for goddamn nothing. I'm just gonna go put this out there as on my own volition, without any kind of pressure from anyone on the side or anything.
You're welcome. What?
MLW will be back on Vice Live in July.
So you can catch up now.
Catch up now. All the Fusion replays are happening on Vice. We've been watching some of them because we thought they're all new episodes. They're all replays, but I don't think they're in order. But still, you get to know the characters and such and the wrestlers. So We have been really enjoying watching MLW on Vice. I suggest others do it as well. But none of it's new content. It's all old content from the YouTube, so you can just YouTube binge it as well if you'd like. So, all right. Am I allowed to talk about NXT yet? Yes. Can I? Yep. Is it okay? Okay. Producer? Stop. Okay? Yep. All right. You guys ready for NXT?
I'll watch none of it. Let's go.
NXT.
Did you watch none of it, Klump?
No.
There's a good chance you watched none of it.
Can I
No.
throw this in the ether? Okay.
Go ahead. What's up?
I'm going to be in Orlando in November, and I'm going to be there during the week. I'd love to go see NXT. So if any of you know how to get tickets for that, can you please tell a sister?
Yeah,
'Cause-
but
yeah, I'd like to go.
fuck that. You could go to like Disney World.
Well, no, we're going to Disney World too.
Yeah,
But-
go longer. Fuck NXT.
Well, no, I'm going there for a convention, but I'm taking, travel managers, corporate travel managers. We're taking them to Epcot so we can do the drinking around the world.
Okay.
There's nothing says book my hotel than taking someone to get them drunk, because you can make them do anything almost.
Fair.
Yeah. So please let me know. Thanks. Okay, continue.
The show opened up. I don't think it even opened up with a promo. I think it opened up with the tag match, right? It had the Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez against Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart.
Yeah.
I liked the match overall. It was pretty solid. We did get the win of Moon and Blackheart over Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
There was that weird kind of stunner eclipse moment that Ember got on Raquel, which I thought was really well done, and Raquel sold it great. And it made me curious if they'll move in that direction at any point in time. But I really liked it overall. I'm not gonna lie. My eyes weren't glued to the screen the whole time here, but from most of the stuff that I was watching, which was a good chunk of it, I didn't feel like it got clunky or weird like it can get sometimes in there. What did you think of it, Amanda?
Well, one of the things that I really noticed is I think that Ember and Shotzi are really starting to gel now. I don't know if you got that sense of it, but that's the sense I got from it. And it was really cool to see. And I really thought that this match, I'm like, there's so much that they could do with this. Like, I would love to see Ember Moon, versus Raquel for the, for the belt. That'd be great. I would love to see that. But but who knows what's going to happen. But I really, really enjoyed it. So, because at first it's kind of, sometimes it's like, oh man, you're going to start with a tag, and then for it to be that as good as it was, I think it was a great way to open too.
One, it's a good way to to build up. Like, you need to build feuds for Gonzalez, and you need valid they might be able to get this feuds, I think Ember Moon does that.
Yeah. Did you see this one, Klump? Did you not watch any of this? You did watch it? What did you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I like that spot. I think what I'm curious to see is I definitely could see Ember in that feud for the title again. Because I think Shotzi's, they got some time, but I don't know. I feel like I know this doesn't have to go this way. I want to see Dakota Kai in this title picture more. And I know you're not going to build it here, but I think that would be an interesting build here, and you could have done that,
Yeah. No, I agree. I keep waiting for something to happen there, and I wonder if we're going to actually get there or not. With Dakota Kai going for the title against Raquel Gonzalez. I just don't know. Here's the thing with NXT women, which is different than and when you think about it, I guess it's happening in their men's division too. They have a way of getting their champions to be undeniably powerful and almost big fish, small pond feeling pretty quick. And Raquel's kind of there where it's like you're always on the edge of, well, they're just going to call her up now, right? You know what I mean? And I wonder how much they're going to be willing to do with Dakota Kai in that regard. Like, I wonder if Raquel's going to be the type who relinquishes and then leaves, or has some sort of fake injury and leaves or something. You know what I mean? Like, because Cross, too. I think Cross is too big for NXT. I think he's just... It's too... I don't know. Man. I think that's a good question. You want to see Dakota Kai in that story, so do I.
I legitimately think Dakota Kai is the most talented wrestler in the women's division in NXT, which puts him in contention to be one of the most talented wrestlers, period, as a female or male. They have the best chemistry with everyone. When they're in that War Games match, and yeah, it's kind of a train wreck, but they're so fluid. They work with everyone. They have the best spots, and more and more, it's them making it work for everyone around them. I think Dakota Kai over anyone could go up to the main roster, but also could hold that belt for a long time. I think they're fantastic, and I want to see them build them up. Maybe out of this, a good way to do that would be, look, and you lost, and you got you're not unkillable. You're not this monster. You took a hit and that knocked you down. Maybe Dakota Kai could do something there, you know?
I can't argue that. No, I think it's great. And to be honest, all four of these women here, I mean, two of them have held the women's title. One of them actually holding it now, but like, I don't see there's any reason why I couldn't believably see that title on Dakota or Shotzi at any given time.
Yeah.
And I agree. I don't know that I could argue saying that Dakota Kai is not the best in the brand. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk women's wrestling in general, you know, worldwide or even company-wide, I would be like, okay, let's have a cool debate about this talent or that. But with Dakota Kai over there, it's like, it's tough to say, yeah, someone else is definitively better than her. Especially because I hold her in a high regard, obviously, clearly. But I do think of her a lot like I think of Dolph Ziggler, and I think Dolph Ziggler is one of the absolute best. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just sort of untapped, maybe. But I don't know. I like it. It was a good match. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I like that parallel. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler is an amazing untapped talent. I would say Dakota Kai's kind of like a Bret Hart in '91. Mm-hmm. Like, shit, you're good. Shit, you need a belt. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. At the end of the match, Gonzalez and Dakota Kai beat the shit out of Blackheart and Moon, and that was kind of neat. I will say there was a tad clunky here, just because they were trying to put over how powerful Raquel was, that she was kind of carrying Shotzi from like spot to spot. And Shotzi can only half sell while being on somebody's shoulders. So it kind of made for a little bit of an awkwardness where she's like sort of selling, sort of not, just because like she's also got a balance on this person's shoulders. So I think that could have been done a little bit differently, but I will say that final shot where they dropped her on the barricade looked fucking awesome. Looked like they just knocked her face right off. It was dope.
Yeah.
Fair.
But that was that bit. Let's see. After that, I don't even think we got a promo at that point. We ended up with Bobby Fish versus Pete Dunne.
Yeah, I went right into that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amanda. Tell me about it.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. Love me some Bobby Fish. I actually, it was everything that I expected it to be. However, for some reason, in my little like depth of my black heart, I really thought that maybe Roddy would come out because of all the shenanigans happened. And when that didn't happen, I got a little sad. I'm not expecting hipster Kyle to, because you know that's already clear that that's not, you know, you're going different roads. But you know, Roddy is just one of those people that, you know, I'm like, man, because I just feel that whole thing of him like just bouncing, you know, there was a reason for it. Not, you know, maybe he really is gone, but I think there is, and I was hoping that could be that, and they can kind of do their thing. But Again, like Pete Dunne, I mean, he's, you know, scary and has a really bad. The only things are with Pete Dunne is I think he's scary and he's really bad self tanner.
But
Yes.
gooey self tanners
He's-
gotta go.
I mean, he's
Covered in
got
slime.
yeah, he tries to contour, and I'm like, why? Your face is already kind of chiseled. You don't need that.
He looks like he just left office.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I liked about this match? I couldn't objectively say who I thought was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I agree with that because coming into it, you're fuck Pete Dunne's on a tear. Pete Dunne's unstoppable, but Bobby Fish, and you're not gonna kick the Undisputed Era guy down. And it was a great. And NXT does this so well. They make matches where I don't give a shit who loses. They look strong. They look strong coming out. I think they do that really, really, really well compared to a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And this was one too where it's all like, so my wrestling loving mind goes, well, Pete Dunne's got to win this. He's on an absolute tear, and he's gonna go up against that champion again soon. I'm sure of it. And he was in the title picture, so he's got to win. Bobby Fish has never been in the title picture, but my too smart for my own good wrestling brain goes, well, it's Bobby Fish's return, so when he makes a debut return, you got to make him look pretty strong, so there's no way that they would give him a loss so early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Plus, like you said, well, he's former Undisputed Era, and the Undisputed Era is arguably the greatest faction of all time in the history of wrestling, so there's no way you'd want them to look weak coming off of it.
But it's Pete fucking Dunne.
But it's goddamn Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
And he murders.
I mean, yeah.
Actually, he doesn't eat meat. So. Yeah. Prove me wrong. So, that's what I liked about it, is that you had like the competing internal monologue of wrestling fandom and wrestling smart mark, where it's all you just don't know who's going to walk away because they both could use the win so much. But at the same time, you don't know that any of them, either of them, couldn't handle a loss either. So it really had a lot of doubt in how it was going to turn out. So it made the match even more exciting to watch. I thought they did such an awesome job playing up that injury with the arm. I mean, they could have easily re-injured him, and I wouldn't know. But the way they were really leaning into the arm injury and working it. It was just so well put together. I was the whole time I'm watching, I'm like screaming, like, "God damn it, fuck!" Like, looks
Poor
so
Bobby
bad.
Fish. That was me.
Yeah.
Poor Bobby. Like, he just came back. Come on.
And they kept cutting back to that picture of like the arm right after the surgery, so it's like literally cut open with stitches, and so all you can think. I mean, they did it because it's smart. What it did is like you see his arm in that wrap. And you go, I know what's underneath there. An open wound with barely any stitches holding it together. Which is clearly not how that works. But that's the image in your mind. So you're all like, it's delicate.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
But did you feel like, maybe like someone would come out and kind of help?
You know, I didn't know. Because Oni came out, I thought there's a very good possibility someone else would come out.
Yeah.
And someone did ultimately, wasn't it? Didn't Kushida someone come out help out Bobby Fish? No,
I don't
nobody did,
remember.
huh? The refs
Did
came
he?
out. The refs came out and pulled him out, pulled him away.
Yeah, but it's not like if we had like a Roddy or somebody.
Big
I
pointing.
you know.
A whole lot of pointing. Get out of here. Go on, scram. Go on now, scram. Match is over. God damn it, Oni. Get on out of here. I told him I would win. Prove me wrong.
He doesn't sound like that.
That's what Pete Dunne sounds like to me.
No, he doesn't sound like he's like, I don't know, some weird Peanuts character.
No, he sounds like Ringo Starr.
No, he doesn't.
I told him I would break his fingers. Prove me wrong.
Okay. Oh, now I have to listen to his voice again. And so,
All right. Klump.
Pete Dunne sounds like that.
oh man, Jeez Louise.
He's got a weird Midlands English accent. Like it's not like a London. It's a like north, like rurally accent. Yeah.
No. You got it confused. In like Ringo Starr, I think was it Manchester? So it's kind of that Manchester draw. Prove me wrong.
Well,
It's the same thing with Carl Pilkington. Carl Pilkington's Manchester,
Well,
so
he's-
it's like, I don't know.
Well, he's got, but no, Pete's got like a. He's got a little bit of a dance to it, which is that like
man,
northern.
Oh, jeez Louise.
Look up where Pilkington's from. I bet you it's Liverpool as well. No, he's from Manchester. Pilkington.
You know, the way
Pete does from Liverpool.
I do rank the
Birmingham.
the Brits by like familiarity. Like
Yeah, or Greater Manchester.
Zack
And
Sabre
then
Jr. sounds like
Gervais
he's very
is from
prim
Reddington.
and polished. He sounds like Prince Philip in a way. I don't know. Marty Skrull
Steve
sounds like
Merchant's from
Eliza
Bristol.
Doolittle.
Famous for loads of
Um,
things.
Yeah, that's how I
All
relate.
right.
I'm just saying that's how. Yeah, but I don't see the Ringo Starr in it. Maybe I need to watch again. I don't know. There is someone I can't remember who
Wait,
it
what
is,
was
but
Pete
there's
Dunne?
someone that sounds like Hugh Grant to me, and I'm like, dude,
Look,
no.
Ringo's from Liverpool. Where's Pete Dunne from?
Birmingham.
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 Well, you know what the producer just did, right? She
No,
proved
which
me
one?
wrong.
Uh-oh. Gosh.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Oh man.
Sorry.
I agree with you.
Sorry.
Like I relate English people to like. Marty Skrull does have a very posh English.
No, he doesn't. He
Mhm.
sounds like Eliza Doolittle. Like when Eliza Doolittle was speaking in the Cockney. If you put him next to other British wrestlers and you hear them all talk, like, whoa, what the hell? You're right. Yeah.
But-
And
Liza Doolittle only sounded like that the whole Cockney thing was only bad because she was in America now.
was she? Oh, I don't know.
That was the whole point of the movie. Is like she moved to like
Oh.
America, so it's like the rain in the plains.
The Rain in Spain.
Squarely on the plane.
But no, but I mean, seriously, Marty lives in the US now. I mean, but doesn't like,
Yeah.
isn't if you hear him speak like with an accent, it's hilarious because it's almost like Southern. It's kind of cute. But I
Hello
saw
there,
that
I'm Marty Skrull.
girl. Rhymes with
You all
girl.
fuck
Yeah.
straight up John Wayne. All right. Well, it
How
turns out
did
I'm
it,
wrong.
Pilgrim?
Pilgrim. Yeah, you just like, hey, Marty, do a fucking English accent. Okay, Pilgrim. All
What
right.
is going
Well-
on over here?
Let's see. So let's see. Let's keep going. Let's keep it moving. Although I'm having a good time with this bit, to be honest. Hit Row. They did a Hit Row video.
Yeah.
Before I say anything about it, I want to start with Klump. Klump, what'd you think about all this Hit Row stuff? Because go just
This I did not
because
see. This
you didn't see this bit, Amanda.
I did not see
What
this
did you
bit.
think about it? Because now we're a couple weeks into the Hit Row thing, and when it first started, we were all kind of like, I don't know. What do you think about it at this point?
At this point, I'm like, yeah, I was right. I really just, no. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me because unless these other people in Hit Row are going to wrestle, then it doesn't, I'm like, okay, you're like Flavor
did.
Flav, but you've got three of them. Two
But they
men
did
and a
wrestle.
woman. Did they?
They had a fucking tag match like last week.
Oh, obviously I wasn't paying attention, or maybe that was cut out of my
God.
version of NXT because I don't remember
Oh,
that.
that could be.
So, but again, like it doesn't do anything for me, and it just makes me think of, damn, they're just wasting his talent. Swerve, and that sucks.
So, with me, I think that it's coming together pretty good. I think they're still pretty heelish. I don't feel like cheering for them. I do think there's a lot of chemistry there. We've seen everyone wrestle but the woman. I believe they call her B something.
Yeah,
They're all starting to get sort of character driven. Like we're starting to see their personalities in a sense. The one thing I'm disappointed in the most at this point is the woman is really just barely a sprinkle. She like intros and outros them and doesn't have any input. So she's starting to feel kind of like a token woman in there. Well, we should have a woman here. For what? Just to have a woman. So it looks like we have women. You know what I mean? Because even here they started out where she's like, she said one line and introduced and said, all right, you guys take over basically.
Yeah.
And at the end, they're like, we want to hear from you, B. And then she just goes, hit row.
Yeah.
And they all just did their hand sign and that was it. And I was like, well, everyone had like 4 or 5 lines and all you have was the name? Like, it sucks. Like,
yeah.
I'm bummed for her because I think I'm expecting more out of her at this point. I feel like I understand the other characters. I like their chemistry together. They feel like a crew. All that stuff's working for me in that regard. And the 3 men we've all seen in the ring at this point, and they look good. I like the content. I like the dissing. I liked they even do it in like a hip-hop fashion with making a ton of references and stuff, saying that they're going to have a big L on their forehead like they're Mario's brother. I'm like, love it.
That just makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Yeah,
but
it is.
She's just kind of there, and I don't like that she's just kind of there. I want more out of her, and I do think that it was interesting that Swerve was making heavy insinuation that he's going after Karrion Kross. So, I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, but there are other ways you can go around doing that.
Yeah, you don't have to wrap it, I suppose.
Yes, I can agree with that.
All right. Well, so
I haven't seen. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good. No, you're good. Like I'm that.
Yeah, we'll see what you think when you see the next segment, if it's any different or better than what you've been seeing. So I'll be curious to know that. So we did see Mercedes Martinez going out towards the ring, and as she's walking out there, Boa was just lurking in the hallway, being a weirdo. And then we ended up with Mercedes Martinez versus Zeta Ramir. They did throw out that Zeta Ramir is on a podcast. It's not a podcast I'm familiar with, but it sounds good. So I thought that was interesting. But this match, Klump, what did you think about Mercedes Martinez versus Zeta Ramir?
It was a squash. I mean, like it served its purpose to me, but it didn't stand out. Like it was a great show of matches. This is, I think, kind of the weakest part of it. You know.
I felt like the first half, Zeta looked solid to get to the point of the squash. Like at least it wasn't 30 seconds. So I felt like that Zeta coming off real new and fresh, but just couldn't handle a Mercedes. I thought that made Zeta look pretty good, especially because it's like the 3rd match we've seen her in. You know,
fair, but I think also partly like if you're trying to establish Mercedes Martinez as this kind of monster, like, do you want to give? Like, it's not burying the other person, but it's, I don't know. I feel like it's not squashing Xia Li in like 30 seconds, but it's also like, do we need to give this person that much time to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like against this established person, like, do you want Brian Kendrick on a brand like just coming into WWE to look badass against Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Can I gotta jump out because I got kind of a family thing that I'm trying to deal with real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and just mute your mic so that way nothing gets picked up or
Cool.
anything. And then jump back in whenever you're ready. Amanda, what do you think about this match?
I kind of wasn't looking until all of a sudden I look up, and because I was busy working, but I looked up and I was like, oh, because we last week on episode 1, am I not correct that we were talking about what's happened with, Xia Li? Where did she go? You know? And it's almost like, we're listening to you because, hi, assholes, here it is. And I was really excited that is going to probably be a program. And I, with Mercedes, and I am all for that. Because are we going to see Shen Shah or whatever? We're going to see that come about? I don't know. And so I'm very curious to see what's going to happen, because she got the mark and everything. So that got me excited, more so than the match, to be fair.
Yeah. So at the end of the match, the ring fills up with fog. The lights go red. There's like Tian Sha on the screen. And then Mercedes, they zoom in on her hand, and she got the mark on her hand, the 3 lines.
I got so excited. I was like, you didn't even know. I was like, it was red and then like misty, like whatever. I was like, oh, yeah. But, we'll see. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm excited about that too. I don't know where we're going next. I guess we're going to go to Xia Li against Mercedes. Xia Li's going to have to go over, right? Like they got to. Xia Li's got to be a murderer at this point.
I would think so, because I think the way that they're, they are going to use Mercedes is, I think it's more of, obviously, she's a true vet. She has a lot to offer to people. So I think that, that's kind of her role. And, it's not a bad role. I mean, I personally thought that, like with Natty, that was like her. I always thought that was kind of her role, or Tamina. That's their role, and they're gonna get overlooked to be, they're not gonna get a belt or whatever or whatnot. But, I think that, it's gonna be a very interesting program, because it hasn't all come out yet, and it's like, how long is it gonna be? Because we're sitting on almost 6 months of these promos, or maybe even longer. Honestly. Yeah. So I'm getting antsy.
Yeah. At this point, I would definitely want to see more. But I also don't know. I don't know where we go ultimately with Xia Li, and I'm actually happy with that. You know what I mean? Like, it could be nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I thought it's awesome. I can't wait for more Xia Li stuff. So, yeah, just keep it coming. Let's see. After that, we had Cameron Grimes.
Oh, wait. When did Thatcher and Ciampa cut that promo? Can't remember when that happened.
Oh, shit. You're right. That's not in here. So, yeah, it would have happened right before then. It would have happened somewhere before it. Maybe between the first 2 matches. I bet you it was in there. The Ciampa and Thatcher promo. Yeah, that was fucking sick.
It was. And then, of course, you get Tim talking, and then, the creepy smile, we know. Yeah. And I was just like, man, I cannot wait. Them and MSK. I mean, honestly, like I said, this is like, I think, the best tag division there is in wrestling. You can at me. I don't give a care, but I really do think it is, because I'm excited for next week, which we'll get into later. But I also think that there's so many different combinations of tags that are either they are tag team wrestlers naturally, and then some of the ones that they put together have been most excellent. Because if you were to tell me that Ciampa and Thatcher would make a great tag team, I tell you, no, you're fucking kidding me. There's no way. Yeah. But it works, and it's incredible. So it's going to be a really good ride to see. So that's my 2 cents.
100%. I thought that, so as much as I like it when Ciampa flips out and throws the chair, and then Thatcher just smiles, for whatever reason, this time I felt like Ciampa seemed a little forced in that moment. And I wasn't totally sold on the fact that Thatcher then also snapped and threw his chair. But as I was sitting with it, I didn't hate it, but I don't think I got the same love I got out of it when the first one happened, where he just seemed to like, Ciampa seemed to lose his cool, throw his chair and walk off, and Thatcher just kind of smiled like, yeah, my buddy's psycho. This one felt a little bit too forced. A little bit like that other thing may have happened more naturally. and then they're like, yeah, just do it again. Someone like when someone tells the same joke twice in class, and you're like, all right, dude, well, we already heard the joke. You don't need to repeat it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping that they start to lay off of it a little bit or take a different turn with it, but it did feel a little forced in that regard. But I'm loving them as a duo, and I thought the promo was fucking solid. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. Let's see. We did have Cameron Grimes.
Oh, love that guy.
He
Love
had the
that guy.
$1 million face-off with the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase.
And DiBiase. Yeah.
What I liked right before this segment, they showed Ted DiBiase backstage chopping it up with Toni Storm, and he seemed to really like her, and they were smiling and laughing. And then he walks over, Robert Stone comes out, and he throws money at Robert Stone and then laughs in his face. So I was like,
that was
amazing.
The best part. I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, look at $1 Million Man loves Toni Storm and hates Robert Stone. He's one of us. So good. So good. What did you think about this face-off between Cameron Grimes and $1 Million Man before the interruption?
Before the interruption?
Yeah.
Well, it was what we all have been dying to really see. And for me, I was like, it can't, if it's going to end, and this is the impression that I was feeling this whole time. I was a little anxious about it. If it ends, why is it ending like this? Because this doesn't follow the insanity of all of those promos. The bougie watch, the, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I felt. And I was kind of like, oh man, and it was kind of like almost a bummer. So I think I was psyching myself out like, oh man, it wasn't supposed to be like this. No. Right. Yeah. So that's the feeling I got. And then the interruption.
It was a little bit, there was a little bit kind of a weird feeling where like we're getting in a weird emotional state. It's kind of a weird thing. $1 Million Man's like, I'm looking for someone who's like me. And then, let me talk to you.
Oh, yeah. That I fell off my chair because I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. What is going on here? Oh, yeah. I was blown away. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So that made me kind of stop and think for a moment, like, whoa.
One of those tiny details I loved about this, and I wish Klump was back for this part, because Klump's really been able to show us through his knowledge of watches and cars how much Cameron Grimes likes the shitty end of expensive things. He likes spending money more than he likes having nice things.
Yeah.
Because he has money, right?
Yeah.
Where LA Knight has nice things, designer everything. So I love that this is now like ghetto rich and high end rich in a battle over the heart of $1 Million Man. You know what I mean? Because $1 Million Man's looking for a protege, it seems, and Eli's Drake saying, I'm made of money. I'm all money. Everything about me is $1 million. And Cameron Grimes is going, I'm rich too, though, damn it. No. So I loved the idea of, I didn't see it coming with all the designer stuff. I don't know why I didn't, but the idea of LA Knight and Cameron Grimes being in a number of matches together with $1 Million Man circling that and being a part of it, I just think it's a win-win. There's no way that either Cameron Grimes or LA Knight don't get elevated by being with $1 Million Man on the other side of this.
Yeah, I think, I know that from obviously the two people from their past, they're very familiar working with each other, and I also know that they're pretty good friends too. So, it's kind of natural to see, they're going to work well together. But in this this situation, because already you've got two, LA Knight's just, it's just Eli Drake with another name to me. But the Cameron Grimes character, I mean, it's just been so well developed. And every time we see him, it's like there's more and more layers that get put onto him. And I think with Trevor Lee, he's done a fantastic job with that. So I definitely think that, this is probably going to be, and for those people who don't, necessarily like matches that are kind of comedy, in its own way, it kind of is not really comedy, but it kind of, but the situation makes it that way. And I think that that's important to have, because if you had matches like Bobby Fish and Pete Dunne and, and then obviously like the main event, Balor and Cross all the time, sometimes you need a little breather,
Yeah. I do agree with that. And I think what LA Knight brings to the table, he knows the entertainment so well. He can be the straight man and not come off with any on him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He can be in comedy stuff and be the person who's doing none of the comedy stuff and be hysterical because of it. He can also be so charismatic that you're laughing because he's having a good time with you. You know what I mean? Like, he can be a smart ass. Obviously, you know that. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, I think this is a perfect spot for LA Knight to flex his chops a little bit, because one of the things people have been saying about him since he got there is he seems pretty cookie cutter pro wrestler and kind of generic pro wrestler. I think we're going to see a little bit of his entertainment side on there. I think we've been seeing it. And I mean, I guess if you're already a fan of his, you see the little bits as they go, but I think him being in a story with $1 Million Man and Cameron Grimes is going to be nothing but good for literally everybody involved. Splinter Fox coming through. Ding dong. Hello, Splinter Fox. Always good to see you come through. I'm going to see if there's any Twitter chat. No. Cheers to you, man.
Oh.
Let's see. We'll see what Klump says when he comes back. We'll keep it moving, though.
Yeah.
I think right after this spot, I think it was right after this spot they had the Grizzled Young Vets promo against Thatcher and Ciampa. I thought it was good, but I feel like a lot of their promos are getting kind of real similar. Yeah. So I didn't feel anything by this one. But what did you think of it?
I get that sense too. Obviously when we were talking earlier about scripted things and stuff, sometimes they're all sounding kind of the same, or it seems like, wait, did we hear this before? I mean, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I just want to see you guys wrestle, Yeah.
I think I'm at that point too, where I don't need a lot of talk from those guys at this point. Just come on out and do it.
Whereas like LA Knight and Cameron Grimes, I'm like, shit, you can talk for a half an hour and it's like exciting to me. So, and it'll never get old.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%. Twin Fox in the chat saying there's nothing wrong with just wrestling, just saying. And I 100% agree. Matter of fact, we talked about it early. There was a few people who said their problem with LA Knight when they first saw him was like, well, he just sounds like a pro wrestler. And I was like, that might be the most unique character in pro wrestling right now. Yeah. He might be the only character in pro wrestling that is just a pro wrestler, and that's, to me, awesome. Like, he comes off as a guy who's here to win and make money. And it's been a long time since we've seen something that's just that simple and that straightforward, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I think NXT probably has some of, as far as singles competitors go, is they have some of the most like really original characters that are really believable, like LA Knight. Obviously Cameron Grimes is high.
Somehow
Bronson
Cameron
Reed.
Grimes is believable and he's ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's out there. Bronson Reed, I mean, swerved in his own way without the little entourage, the posse, the hit list, or whatever the hell. I mean, you get all of those different kinds of people melding in one. And even with the women, I mean, you've got, when you look at like, you got Toni Storm, and then you've got obviously Raquel and Dakota are just kind of like a step above. And then, you get, weird Indy Hartwell running around looking for Dexter, I mean,
that's what came up next. That was the next spot, so talk about it too.
Yeah. I thought it was sad though. I felt for both of them. My heart. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Splinter Fox says people looking for them scary, evil comedy or bigger than life persona. I prefer the Bret Harts, etc. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you live Indy alone. She's the best."
I'm not talking about Indy. No, I think that storyline, like last week, I think it was like, oh, especially after she found out what Candace did. So I'm like, oh, no, go find your man. Go find your man. You don't need the way. Go find your man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. Those are always my favorite too. When you really break down the heart of Stone Cold, what people remember is he was just a dude who went out there and kicked ass and tried to be the champion all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of LA Knight's mission statement as well. I'm just here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Like he feels like the type. You know what I mean? That's what I like about him so much. Is he just comes off as that authentic. Just I'm a professional wrestler, and I'm here to professionally wrestle and be the champion and be the top and make the most money. And you're kind of like, oh, that's refreshing. You're not a dinosaur. I'm not trying to talk shit on dinosaurs, but I'm saying the idea that you don't need that level of character, that you don't need to go that far into gimmick to be able to say, I belong here. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, let's talk about the storyline with Indy, because Splinter Fox is all over it right now. But Indy Hartwell tried to find Dexter Loomis. She goes over and finds Everrise, who says words. Drake Maverick shows up and says, hey, I saw Dexter Loomis in some other place. I was only half listening to any of this. I couldn't care two shits less about it, so I'm going to let you talk about it. Splinter Fox does say, the weird part about this whole storyline is with Indy is they are both with somebody else, so I can't really get on board with the story. And if you're talking about in real life, I'll just say I don't know anything about either of theirs real lives, so I'm not having the same problem you're having.
Yeah, I don't either. But
go ahead. You talk about it, because as far as I was concerned, this whole thing could disappear and it wouldn't bother me one bit.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So what'd you say?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's a couple things I got out of it. The one dude from Everrise kind of looked like, to me, a bootleg Young Buck from back in the day. Not the Young Bucks as we know them now, but I'm talking like, early New Japan, Ring of Honor type of Young Bucks. So, and I'm like, why do you kind of look like Nick Jackson? No, not Nick, Matt, excuse me. And
funny. It's because I think of Everrise as like a bootleg Best Friends. I feel like that they are trying to be Chuck and Trent.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I mean, in all fairness, I don't like Chuck and Trent either, but I feel like they're a worse version than I feel like Chuck and Trent are more true to themselves. So I don't know, but it is what it is. Keep going.
Chuck, I will just say this real quick. Chuck and Trent, don't like them together. I never have. Trent with Rocky Romero as Roppongi Vice. Oh yeah, all day, every day. Anyways, I will continue. So what I thought was really cute was all of the artwork that Dexter did that was hanging on the walls, like broken hearts. Basically, the one I really loved was when she was on the spa table and she said loser, and at the bubble it said loser, and there was a knife just right in his heart. And I just was like, oh, that's cute. I wish they would sell those things. I would buy one and frame it if they signed it. That would be great. But
he did post on his Twitter the drawing in a really good, like a photo of it, so you could see it really clear. So if you like it, you should go to Dexter Loomis's Twitter and just save the photo.
Yeah, no, because I thought it was really cool. And and that kind of, it was nice to have this moment, because yes, we had some silliness, and there's a lot of serious like wrestling going on, so it's nice to have that. And it's kind of nice that it was like, okay, we didn't see Candace, didn't see Johnny, didn't see Austin Theory, thank the Lord. So I mean, nice. I have nothing wrong about Candace, but the other two, little old. So.
I thought Candace was sort of chasing Indy for a second, and Indy broke away. But even then, if that was it, then it was minimal.
Maybe I missed that, but I don't think so, because I saw Indy like busting out of some like door into a hallway, and she was looking around like frantically.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just made it up in my mind. But all right, I mean, if you're having fun with it, a lot of people are liking it. It's just not my story, so I just move it along.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Not everything is going to be for everybody, but it's nice to know that it's kind of cute, and whatever. And I think it gives both of them a purpose, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, I think it just undermines both their characters by a lot. It makes Indy look
Really?
like a child, and it makes Dexter go from scary to weird, goofy. Like, yeah, because
Well-
before Dexter was kind of like a serial killer, and now he's kind of like an obsessive stalker for
yeah,
for like a for what
kinda
who,
creepy.
for who's coming off like a teenage girl.
yeah.
So it's just none of it feels good or comfortable or happy. None of it. There's no happy ending to this for me.
Yeah, he was menacing, and now it sounds like a junior high love story.
Yeah, he went from being a menacing presence to just being a junior high story. But let's see. Spencer Fox is saying the weird part of the social note. He goes, Loomis and Bailey would be more interesting. Just saying, just let Indy kick ass and take names. I mean, I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know if I'd see Loomis and Bailey. I don't need to see any kind of this whole relationship thing with Dexter. I don't need to see at all. I guess they're trying to give a human aspect to him, but not if it's at the cost of making someone else who could seem serious seem like a child is my problem. I also think Indy's a bit new in the business to just be out there kicking asses. So I do like her in a tag team with someone like a Candice. I do like them being being the tag champions and being able to run with that. Like, I think all that stuff is good right now. Everything with Dexter just needs to go. Dexter's being served nothing by being a part of this, in my mind, to me. And he goes, when I watch wrestling, that is what I want to see. If I wanted to laugh, I watch Comedy Central. I mean, I do think there's a place for some comedy in wrestling, but I do agree with you for the most part. I'm not looking for a comedy show top to bottom, and I do think that there's good comedy and bad comedy, and I think Everything with the Way is awful comedy.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, it just feels like it's all been written by kids. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but
I
when
don't
it's
need
done well,
Yes.
it's great.
Yes. He says, just have Loomis abduct Dunn and take him back to the UK NXT version. Nobody cares about Dunn. What are you talking about? Dunn's a fucking murderer. But it would be nice to see Loomis attack somebody else and end up in a program, because Dexter and Pete Dunne could be a really weird match.
Because he knows I like him.
Oh, that's true.
He's about to get booed from the chat.
He's going to get booted. Tooted and booted. Let's see. We did have the debut. The debut of Frankie Monois. We had La Vera Loca
Yeah.
against Cora Jade. Amanda, I want to hear what you thought about this match.
Well, obviously this was very anticipated, and I love Frankie Monet. Almost called her old name. But the one thing that I have kind of I don't want to say issue, but the one thing that really kind of got me was the Vera Loca stuff. And I'm like, okay, obviously, I think the story was like when she was wrestling in Mexico, that nickname was given to her. I get it. Yeah. But it kind of doesn't, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't, to me, mesh with what Frankie Monet has been like leading up to this. And just in general, like the outfit was outrageous. Her raincoat and everything. I'm like, yep. Waiting for Morrison to come out with like a fur thing or something that matches that big puffy, more than a prom dress thing. But I think that for me was, that was kind of a confusing thing, because I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense to it. But what I did like about it, and with Cora Jade, I thought this was a really good person to have to wrestle, and bring this character out, because you saw a lot of more of that personality of Frankie Monet, and you also saw some pretty solid moves that even Beth was like, oh, that looks familiar, and I'm like, yeah, because both were very powerful. They're both very powerful women. So
but I think that was the Glam Slam. Yeah, I loved Beth.
It was.
Yeah, that was Beth's.
It was.
That line was so good.
Yeah, it was the best. I was like, yes, you're killing me, Beth. I love it. But I think that, definitely, she adds a great a great bit of experience to that roster.
Mm-hmm.
How long she's going to be there, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder that too.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a couple people that when they signed, I'm like, how long are they really going to be there? Because I think that of MSK, think that of her. Yeah. Even sometimes when I look at like Swerve, like, why are you still here? I don't know. And even like Raquel's gotten to the point, like, I feel like Raquel, I'm a girl, what you doing down here? I get it. You're priming her for, greater things, but I really do think that, this adds just another dimension because they have all different types of women with different styles and it works. And that's why I think when they say, oh, this is the best women's division in the world. Oh yeah. Bar none, yeah. Because you've taken vets, you've taken rookies, and you've taken people you've homegrown and you mesh them all together and it's fabulous. So, I mean, that's why but I'm already a fan of hers. So,
Yeah. No, 100%. Let's see. Spinner Fox likes that producer understood what was happening there. And he doesn't like their new names. I'll be honest, between their new names and all, I've seen both LA Knight and Frankie Monet defend their names as names that they chose and things that they like and they're excited to have. So I'm not going to be so disrespectful to them as to say I refuse to call them by their name. But
yeah,
I can understand personal preference in general. I do think Eli Drake was something that it was easy to catch on to. I don't think that it's more difficult than the other or anything. So
LA Knight,
it is what it is.
It has that, the rhythm. So I get why. Yeah.
I wondered that too. If because you got to pitch a number of names. I wonder if he was like, all right, all 3-syllable names.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure. But also with I think with Frankie Monet, it's like, all right, well, the Taya Valkyrie name was in Lucha Underground, and look at Pentagon. How many name changes that guy has had? He's been from Pentagon Junior, Penta El Zero Medio, or whatever the hell. Yeah, he's got 4 or 5 name changes, I think, since I've seen him wrestle. So I'm like, oh, I get it. John, is John Morrison, because that's where he started from. But for me, I like to call him Johnny. Insert your name here with whatever,
I thought Johnny Mundo was the best one. I don't know why, but
Johnny Mundo was good, was really, really good. But again, what I would really love to see is Boone the Bounty Hunter 2. Come on, WWE Films. Come on. That's fun. Boone the Bounty Hunter I thought it was a great film. Okay,
but you can at the end of the day, this isn't about the names. This isn't about Johnny Mundo. Let's keep it moving. So I do agree that it does come down to personal preference, though. Spin Fox does say to me, I can't get behind these new female talent. He goes, Gonzalez, Dakota, Indy, and Blackheart are the best, but these new ones just don't feel the same. But again, it's hard to compare to the talent back in the day when there was Bailey, Banks, Becky, and even Flair. Yeah, but I also think it's part of that's just getting used to people too. Like, they're all new, so they're not going to have that same thing. If you watch the first few matches of, any of the people you even just listed, they're lackluster at best. You just don't know what you're getting until you get there. So I think you give it a chance, see how it goes. I do agree that the La Vera Loca stuff felt a little forced because, like you said, it's been very bougie and not a whole lot about her lucha background. But they were really pushing the lucha background on commentary, which I liked. But it was weird enough to where the producer was asking me while we were watching, why is she calling out the shit from her indies when she's doing this? Isn't it a whole different name? And I was like, well, it's a slogan, but I get it. But I do agree with you that it feels a little bit like definitely want to make this happen, and we don't see how to naturally make it fit. Mm-hmm. So it felt a little forced. For sure to me. But the match itself, was it just me, or was Cora Jade a little too green to be in this? I felt like there was a lot of weird, awkward stuff that was when Cora was trying to do her stuff.
Well, I kind of got that sense, but I think that if you had someone like Cora Jade, who, I mean, yeah, you're new-ish, but I think it made Frankie Monet look, a little bit more powerful than she is with it. I mean, if she wrestled someone like, God, what's her name? The wrestler formerly known as Priscilla Kelly. I think you couldn't get that kind of like feeling from it like you would get from like Cora Jade. And definitely I thought, man, that'd be kind of cool if they had Zoe Stark, but no, that time will come. That time will come.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But I think
I did feel,
she's a little green, but again, remember, I think she's not very old, maybe 20.
Yeah.
And she really wasn't on the indies that long. So,
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
to me, it felt like it pulled away what could have been a really strong debut for Frankie and made it a little bit of a weird debut for Frankie.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was just a little unfair to her because I also felt like that at the end of the day, Cora got way more out of this match than Frankie did, which I think is fantastic for Cora. 100%. I'm a fan of hers. I like her. I think she got a lot of potential. We could see her doing stuff for the next 20 years probably. She'll be probably a champion I end up buying shirts from. You know what I mean? Like I don't have anything. I'm not trying to say anything bad about her. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that the match wasn't as spectacular for a debut for Frankie as I thought it could have been. There was weird start-stop moments and stuttering in movements that I felt was a little unfortunate for, like you said, such an anticipated debut. I mean, when we heard that she signed, everyone was talking about it. It's been months now. We've been waiting to see her in the ring. We finally got it, and it wasn't a match where we just said, everybody's got to go watch this match. Everyone's went like, okay, cool, she's debuted. And to me, that was the bummer of it. That was the bummer, was that, like, this was a match that could have happened without a TV camera on it, and they both would have got the same thing out of it, where I do think that Frankie could have got more if there was somebody just slightly more seasoned to make her look good, or even somebody like even like if you gave her Zeta Ramir, like from before, who's really clean in there, to just take a pretty vicious loss or whatnot, do some crazy stuff that, because she's a little more of a lucha style. I don't know. I just think it could have been a little bit more of a spectacular debut, but I did like it overall, and I do think that we're going to see big things from both of those players moving forward. Thunder Fox does say, I was a fan of Tony, but now she's done the same old stuff. I don't see a change. I sort of agree with that. I do think that she is a victim of circumstance. I feel like by the time she made it to NXT proper, she was already bigger than NXT. Even while she was in NXT UK, she was kind of bigger than the brand NXT in that regard. I think she would be served best by going to like SmackDown, being able to work with like Carmella and Bayley and Bianca and even Natty and Tamina, like that whole roster. I think I'd like to see Tony on SmackDown sooner than later. I'm done with her in NXT. Like, I think it was great. She did an awesome job. And did she have a match this week? It was last week she had a match.
No, last week she had a match.
Yeah, and it was a good match. 100%. But I feel like she's outgrown NXT so fast. I feel like at this point she's helping the others around her more than she's getting elevated. And I feel like she's got to go to SmackDown for that, personally. He does say, before we get into this last couple segments, they should have just fed Ember to Valkyrie. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. He goes, it would have been a great match and have Ember be the gatekeeper in NXT. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Because also she's a tag champ, or she was a tag champ. She can take a few losses here and there.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought it was Dakota. I thought Dakota was the gatekeeper for a bit there, which is fitting because she's probably the best seller in all of the women's wrestling.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you could have gotten away with somebody a little bit. Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. Swin Fox does say Tony and Bayley, boy oh boy, Bayley would have pushed her. Ding dong, hello. Yeah, 100%. Let's see. at this point, I'm just going to move it along a little bit. Producer, was there anything you want to say about Frankie Monet's debut?
Her outfit been better.
Yeah, weren't a fan of the outfit. Wasn't as flattering as you would have liked. I liked the white. I liked the flashiness of it. But it did seem to fit weird. Which is a little weird.
I mean, in comparison with her outfits outside the ring, it didn't match to me.
Yeah, a little bit weird. A little weird there. Certain Fox says, Dakota sells great, just like Trent, even though you don't like him. I mean, I like Trent. I don't like Trent and Chuck as a team. Because I don't like Chuck almost at all. But, I mean, I said when I first saw them, I was all like, oh, they got to split them up. Trent could be a huge star. So I won't disagree with that or argue that point at all. Trent, I think is good. I think Trent has to get rid of Bill Murray on his gear. I think that's stupid. I think it creates an issue with licensing. And I think he's got to drop Chuck because he's worthless. But he is really good. So let me see. Oh, well, this is a weird spot to put all this. It wasn't right. Let's see. Valkyrie was trying to keep old stuff. If you're going to get a new name, you need a whole new attire, etc. The whole past. Oh, he says it's like old gear. I could see that.
Yeah.
That's probably true. That's probably what it was.
Not that big coat. That big
The coat
coat
might
was-
be new, but the
Yeah.
gear I think might be the same. Let's see. So here, did you see a Walter promo?
Yes, there was a Walter promo.
Tell me about it.
And well, with the Walter promo, see, this is where like when how I watched NXT this week, it cut the version I watched online, it cut right in the middle of it and it chopped it up weird. So I'm like, what the hell happened? Because I was like, what? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is it? I think.
Yeah, he was on like an iPad, right?
Yeah, but I think.
Yeah, he
it
told
was
him to go
like-
after Breezango.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, okay, are we gonna see a return of Walter, around SummerSlam maybe? Around the takeover then. I don't know.
Probably. He comes around for the takeovers, which he
Yeah.
should. Dude, that guy could be world champion in a day. You could
should.
have Walter versus Roman at SummerSlam, and I would go, oh
God.
shit. Is Roman
Dude.
going to lose his title? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is
I mean,
nothing not believable about Walter.
No. And those chops, man, oh, Jesus. I mean, if you've never experienced it in person, just the sound, and sometimes if you photography, I've seen photographers get that moment where you see the skin just ripple underneath his hand, and it's like, oh my God, that hurts.
That photo where he's caving in that dude's chest and there's just
Yeah.
a big ripple. I have that autographed by Walter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll post a
And-
picture of it.
Walter will not chop you, by the way, people. So don't ask. Don't.
Oh, did
don't
you just tell people no?
He's like, no. 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 Yeah, he tells people no.
That's awesome.
one
He's
who-
like, you're not trained for it.
Well, pretty much he tells people no. It's not safe.
Oh,
and-
that's nice.
And yeah, big bad Walter up there. But
Love it.
there are other people who will take your money. No qualms about it. Our buddy Penta, he'll take your money. And I have a friend that got chopped, and the
That's
handprint
funny.
was on the chest for almost 2 weeks. True story. He had a photo journal of
Do you
the progression.
have you ever encountered somebody who was I'll say it as the most shitty way to say things, but I'll be like, have you ever seen a wrestler at one of the tables be man enough to take somebody else's chop? Be like, hey, I'll pay you $200, let me chop you in the chest. Instead of saying, can you chop me? Or whatever, like $20 or whatever they do.
Oh no, I've seen people do it. Yeah.
They'll let the fan chop them back.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a couple. One of the ones I saw was it was Juice Robinson. I thought that was an odd person to
That was a
ask.
little weird.
Yeah. But it's funny because a lot of it's Janela. Janela hit someone with a chair before. So, I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think one, I want to say it was Nick Gage. I think Nick Gage might have done that too to someone. I know.
But does he let them do it back?
Well, no, I think he did. But I do know that one time someone did pay Chris Hero to give him an elbow, and Chris was like, really? I'm like, oh, I would be embarrassed if someone reacted like that. At least come on, sell it, God damn it. But no, people do, and sometimes they'll let them do it. I've done that to someone free, but just because they were acting stupid and it wasn't supposed to be a chop, but it ended up being a chop.
Let's hit the chat real quick. Splinter Fox says, Frankie had the same old tights, but it was a new coat. And he goes, why is Walter even on NXT? Just stay in the UK. If not, just drop the title and move to the main roster. I agree with that too. I don't think Walter's the type that should go through NXT before going to the main roster. If he's going to the main roster, just shoot him from UK there. Like, don't do a middle ground thing. Because I do think that with this popping in for the takeovers and having these incredible fucking matches, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough for the NXT audience to have the utmost respect for him. So when he shows up on the main roster, he can have that same juice behind him. So I agree. If he's going to the main roster at any point, don't give him a stop in proper UK or in proper NXT.
Yeah.
Let's see. We did have Bronson Reed come out and cut a little promo talking about how good everything was. Happy. Very cool. Nice to see him celebrate. And then Legata del Fantasmo came up and said, fuck you, dude. I'm going to get my shit back. So fuck you, dude. They surrounded him like some velociraptors. And right before they attacked, out came flying in like a couple of penguins sliding into the ring. MSK.
Yep.
I loved it, man. MSK is so goddamn cool.
Yeah, my heart was like fluttering because I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because as you hear on episode 1, a couple of episode 1s back in the catalog recently, I've been saying how much I've loved Legado del Fantasma. And seeing this with these particular 3 with them, I'm like, oh my God, just the possibilities. I'm just so excited about that. So excited. You don't even know. I screamed.
100%.
I screamed.
100%. Super excited. The idea of MSK and Bronson Reed tagging together sounds super cool.
Yeah. I mean, they've been they were at PWG, together. Obviously not wrestling each other or as a team.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was really excited about it because I'm like, wow, this is such a huge, just a whole different clash of style, but it kind of works in its weird way. If you think about Bronson Reed's moveset, their moveset and how fluid they are versus these, how fluid everyone is in Legado, and then and Escobar is just fucking phenomenal too. So and seeing him with Bronson is just kind of like, whoa, that's almost like a very good matchup. So I think that it's pretty badass. And I even thought that, they had showed Bronson and Kushida taking pictures together. I'm like, that'd be an interesting tag team too to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. They announced that there's going to be a number 1 contender match for the NXT Championship. And it's going to be next week. It's Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano.
Boy.
I understand why Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne are in the conversation because they're fresh off losses to Finn Balor. And Balor lost to Cross. So then it's like, well, maybe one of you could take on Cross, theoretically, right? But Johnny Gargano is fresh off of a loss from losing his championship and has had 0 matches in between there. Yeah. He just lost the mid-card title, and now he's in the number 1 contender spot. What the fuck is that? He didn't He hasn't worked his way back into that conversation at all. He's the most fucking out of place addition to that. You're like, oh, you know who just had a major loss? Gargano. Let's give him a shot at the world title.
And when I saw that, I knew you're like, oh, God damn it. I can hear you in my head, Marsh. Like, I'm like, oh, God. And I kind of cringed. I was like, oh, isn't there somebody, anybody, else?
Yeah.
I mean,
so Splinter Fox is saying that is what they did for IC title back in the day, right? He goes, you lose it and you get the push. Right. You started the journey. Famously, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the Intercontinental Champion, literally handed it to The Rock and said, you can go and have this thing. I got no more use for it, and I got bigger fish to fry. And then he started a program with the World Champion, but it was a program, and he had wins between then. This is literally having a loss, not being on TV, and while you're not on TV, being granted a match for a number one contender spot. I'm saying there's not enough in between. I'm not saying that Gargano couldn't get there easily. I'm saying that with literally nothing in between, he's in that spot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Brett didn't do that and stuff. Yeah. But that's just it, is they didn't go from a loss to a number one contender match immediately. There was usually something in between there. Brett won King of the Ring after losing the IC title, which put him in towards the story of the world title. There's stuff that usually happens between there, not just lost the match, next week I'm in a number one contender match. Usually something happens in between there. And the fact that when Stone Cold did it, he didn't lose it either. He just literally said, I'm moving on. It was just a badass thing to do.
Yeah.
But that does bring us to the main event. The main event. Fighting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor. Karrion Kross got the win. What did you think of this match?
Well, first of all, I know we talked about this before on episode 1 about that promo. I mean, oh God, it did its purpose to hype it up, and I really think that it went above and beyond. Yeah. I mean, that caliber of match is not, oh, let's just show it like for free. That's something you'd pay a lot of money for. And, and it's almost disgusting in a way that we got it for free. So yeah. I'm like, whoa. And if we're getting stuff like this for free, imagine when you have to pay for something, or what else could be free,
Yeah.
Obviously, with this Gargano situation, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I'd rather not. But when you see these things, it's pretty incredible. And I was like, it was just as good. I don't want to say it was better than the first one, but I think it was just as good. And we got it for free.
Yeah. I'd have a hard time saying which one was better. This match was so fucking cool.
It was cool.
Everything that was happening on there made so much sense. I love that Karrion Kross was targeting Finn's back. Like, what a gnarly body part to go for.
Yes.
I just want to cripple you. Mm-hmm. The fact that he had him in up against the ropes, or up against the turnbuckle, and then ran and did a big boot to his back, and it left a fucking mark.
Yeah.
So gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
This match was just incredible. It was just fucking fantastic.
Now, was it me, or maybe, I don't know, was the screeching of a person toward the end of the match, was that Scarlett?
I think that was Scarlett, and I could have done without that, but that's what she does.
No, it was interesting because I was like, oh my God, that fan. Ooh, too close to the mic. I know that feeling. I know that one. But, yeah. Gee. But, yeah, I was like, huh. It was really strange because I looked away for just 2 minutes because I dropped something on the floor, and I look up and I was like, oh my God, is someone dying? I mean, because it sounded really severe, and I don't think it was meant to be, but yeah, that was weird.
In that spot where Karrion Kross is in the choke,
mm-hmm.
and the ref picks up his arm, and as it starts to drop, he goes to call for the bell, and Karrion Kross grabs his arm and starts tugging on it.
Yeah.
That was so perfectly timed.
Oh, yeah.
That was so on spot. It was so good.
I don't think people give, because I see a lot on on the internet. A lot of people just, I don't know why they don't like Karrion Kross. I mean, I get it, but it's like there is something about his timing, and the execution of what he does that, it's a whole other level, than other people. I mean, same with Balor. He's always been like that, and I think that, I mean, yeah, it'd be easy to hate on someone because of that. But I really think it's like, if you really enjoy watching the sport, then, or the entertainment, or whatever you want to call it, you have to respect that, because when that whole thing, I was just like, whoa, that was cool. Like that, because you don't see stuff like that anymore.
No. And I do think that everything that they do makes sense. Like the reasons they're attacking certain limbs here and there or whatnot. So good. Yeah. The fact that at the end of the match, Karrion Kross's elbow pad was all the way down to his wrist and he just wasn't even fixing it. Yeah. It just came off like a fucking fight. Splinter Fox does say Scarlett needs to wrestle that would improve the division. I mean, I've seen her matches. She was bad on the indie. She was not a good wrestler. So I'm not...
She did Hurricane Ranas on dudes in fucking 6
Every
heels.
fucking buddy does Hurricane Ranas. That's the thing.
But
she had one move, just like Zelina Vega. She's got one move and she's terrible at the rest. Like, it's fine. You don't have to be good at everything.
I've seen Scarlett you're good wrestle. At. She's all right. I mean, she's no Sasha Banks or Bailey or whatever. No.
That's what I mean. No. Hold off. Don't just throw her in the ring for no reason. She's down there. She's training. Let her learn with the people who are down there and good. So when she's at that level, she can surprise people being great. Like, think how bad it was with Zelina, where we all thought she was good because she did Hurricane Rana on dudes. And then she finally gets in the ring, and it's clunky and weird, and she's terrible because that was the only thing she was really good at, and they put her in the ring too soon. Yeah, don't do that with Scarlett. Save her until she's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, Lana. Sorry. Did I say Lana?
Yeah, Lana. Too soon. Yeah. I think it's smart. I think don't put Scarlett in the ring until she's well seasoned and no one knows it.
Yeah, and I think right now that her character has a purpose, and I think that if you stray from the purpose, it's just gonna make everything's just gonna collapse. I think.
Yeah.
So
I think so
because I think she's really kind of
and be patient. Yeah. Yeah. I think being smart and patient with it. We got plenty of time to get there. Everybody just calm down.
Yeah.
And he says that he goes didn't see her in AAA. I don't know where the matches were that I saw her. I saw a few matches online because I was looking it up. Like none of them were good or impressive. So I don't know where they were from or what or who. But I just remember just going like, oh, she's all looks. There's a reason they call her the Smoke Show. Wasn't a shock.
Yeah. Well, the ones I've seen were at in Chicago, AEW. Yeah. Those are the ones I've seen her wrestle at. Nice. I think maybe because I've seen her live, and why do I want to say that I saw her wrestle it in Cleveland, but I could be wrong. Like I don't think so. But and of course, like she was managing the besties in the world. So that was really cool. Yeah, that was a great little indie tag team.
Gotcha. But I think this was awesome. I don't know if Balor stays in NXT, but if this is him being done in NXT, because I know that initially when they talked about taking him over there, it's supposed to be like 3 months. This would be an awesome way to end his NXT second run. You know what I mean? With a whole other title championship, putting over Karrion Kross the way that he has. Like, what an amazing way to leave NXT better than you found it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Spinner Fox says, "I'm done with this boogeyman woman scary stuff. There's only one taker, and that's it. Leave it alone already." I don't even see a connection between him and Undertaker in any way at all. There isn't even remotely a comparison I can make other than a slow entrance. You know what I mean? Like,
it's more like he's a gladiator,
there's nothing similar.
You know? Or am I wrong?
He comes off a lot more like a gladiator. Yeah, for sure.
I know Scarlett probably makes it weird that way because she's, I don't know.
Yeah, he's got the like, gladiator skirt, looking all pretty. Curtsies.
No, looking like 300.
Oh yeah, 300. Yeah. What do they say before they kick people in the welcome to NXT, and then he kicks them down the hole? But yeah, I just thought this whole match was absolutely awesome. And if it is the end of Balor in NXT, then it's a fucking good way to end it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else in this match you want to touch on before we hit up this one question that Splinter Fox had a little bit ago?
I was gonna say I think going back to the whole thing with Undertaker, and I know like Scarlett, it's her character, but I also get a sense with hers, like if you remember the Crow, the original one, and the brother and the sister, the evil people, the sister. That's where I kind of see like Scarlett's that kind of person. She's kind of like weird person, fortune teller, and there's this weird, obviously sexual type of chemistry. But obviously, they're engaged. But if you didn't know that, then it's kind of that one where it's like, like it should be there, it shouldn't be there, but it's there. So that's, I can understand that. So, but he's not a dead man. He's a gladiator.
Yeah. I get gladiator. Time traveler, maybe. I'm just kidding.
Maybe. No, that's Kushida. That's Kushida. Quit mixing them together. Yeah.
They're easy to confuse, Kushida and Cross.
Oh, no.
Easy to get them confused.
I think if you
they
took
could never
2.5
tag team
Kushidas, it would be one Cross. Maybe. Yeah.
But you could never have that tag team. Karrion Kross and Kushida. The graphics alone would ruin that.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Let's wrap it up on this question that Splinter Fox posed. He said, right now the rumor is Cena versus Roman at SummerSlam. What are your thoughts? Do they need people to buy tickets? I'll say, Splinter Fox, was it? At the end of the day, the 300 guy is better than done. That's funny. I think that, first off, the rumor of them pairing up, I guess, isn't an outrageous rumor. They've had matches before. He's put over Roman before, so I suppose they could, but I don't know. I'd need to see the story going into it, just because last time he showed up, he lost to Roman. Apart from the Fiend thing, before that, he lost to Roman. So it almost seems like strictly a move to sell tickets. Because if you say, hey, we're opening up for a big pay-per-view, we've got Roman Reigns versus John Cena, well, there's two massive names, hopefully we can sell some tickets. I think the story might be a little bit wobbly going into it, I'll be honest. But it'd probably be a good match, probably a better match than we've seen from either one of those guys in a really long time. Well, I don't know if I could say in a really long time. I think that Cena could elevate Roman. I think Roman could bring a lot out of Cena that we haven't seen in a long time. Cena's been kind of paint by numbers for a little while. He's fantastic, and I think that all the matches he does are great, but I do think that this character of Roman would bring out a different side of Cena.
Well, wait, when do they usually do SummerSlam? Is it the end of August or the middle?
They usually do it in July, but it's been pushed back to August or September.
But that was always August. All right, anyways. But you also have to remember, Cena's got a huge movie coming out on June 25th. And I get it. Yeah, Roman was in Hobbs and Shaw. I get it. I know. Yeah. But that's part of the twofold with it too, is that you've kind of got that you can, if you're bringing Cena back in and putting him into the fold, obviously that's going to get a little bit of hype. Fast and Furious movies sell itself anyways, but I think that it would open a new avenue to that fan base that might not know what John Cena really does. So yeah, I don't know, but I think that's a huge possibility. But it's hard to say. Are they hurting that much, the WWE, where they have to have these kinds of things? Because I think back to WrestleMania, and the first one without Undertaker, and I don't know. It didn't feel any different, to be honest. It really didn't. you know,
Yeah.
because a lot of the times with Undertaker, I was like, oh my God, you know, this guy is out for the count, you know, I mean, you know, I feel bad for him, but, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's nostalgia there, with Undertaker, but still, I don't know.
There wasn't much for, apart from like Hogan hosting it, there was no real nostalgia act necessarily advertised
Hogan
for.
Hogan got booed. They had to cover the boos. That was
That's exactly
hilarious.
my point.
Yeah. I mean, the only
that's
thing
what I'm trying
to
to say.
me, the Hall of Fame was pretty much the only thing that was like retro, because it was really cool to see, you know, like British Bulldog and Davey Boy Smith, and you know, because the Bulldogs were one of my favorites when I was growing up.
Right. But what I'm trying to say, Amanda, is that the only nostalgia act they even had in SummerSlam was Hogan, and that wasn't even a draw. It was something people were hesitant about, and they ultimately got booed. So I don't know that they need a Cena to sell tickets, but I don't think it would hurt. Spinner Fox also says he's in the Suicide Squad as well, which is all around the same time, so it could be good.
Oh, that's right. Because I remember he said something like he'd suck dick for America or freedom.
Maybe.
I thought that was great. The line. God,
I'm not familiar with it, but it's possible. But he's also saying that, you know, Roman goes over Cena, and then you get Roman versus The Rock because The Rock beat Cena. But the last Rock beat Cena in the first one, and then Cena beat Rock after that. So the timeline's a little bit skewed there. And he says SummerSlam's always in August. Prove me wrong.
Oh Lord.
Clump's back.
Did you guys really wait like till 10? Like, I hope I didn't keep you guys going.
No, we actually had some.
No, we just been waiting. No, we haven't kept moving.
God,
we're in the same spot. No.
Yeah, we're staring at each other.
Clump, before we wrap this up for last call.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagined you like the main event, and I imagined you like Steve Bronson Reed because you like stuff like that. The one thing I wanted to get your take on, because it seemed like a little bit up your alley, the LA Knight and Cameron Grimes stuff with $1 Million Man.
I didn't get to see it.
You missed that spit? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see if they made a YouTube
it looks
clip
amazing.
of it.
I'm curious of it. Yeah, I want to see more of it. Like, from what I hear, like, I read it, like, oh, that sounds great.
From what I gather, this is why I think you would dig it. To me, it's like Cameron Grimes being the person who is more about flash than value, and Eli Drake more about name brand than you know what I mean. Like, it's like two sides of Rich. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And for them fighting over the heart of $1 Million Man, I thought was something you might really get a kick out of. I'll see if on YouTube if they put that segment on there, because I do want to know what you get a kick. Because you more than anybody have showed us the details that is Cameron Grimes liking things that are not as
LA
nice
Knight's the
as they seem.
yuppie to Cameron Grimes, the Clampets, the Beverly Hillbillies. It's the Clampett family.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Fox says he's going to post a link. Just message me all the dates at SummerSlam. They're all say July. I know it. Klump, Amanda, I think we had a good time. Is everything okay over there, Klump?
Yeah, things are good.
Yeah.
Anything special you wanted to say about the main event?
It was a decent match. It was good. It was NXT knows how to end a show. NXT was that if it were a different era, would be pay-per-views every week.
Yeah,
that's my take on it.
I agree. Well, I think we're ready for last call, guys.
Cool.
We had a long show. We talked about a lot of good stuff. I always like it when you guys come through and when we get a little bit deeper on our Thursday show. We really like to get in the weeds on all of the other stuff before we get into the shows themselves, so it's always a good time. Guys, this is at WOTR The Show. I am at Ref Marsh. That is at Crybaby Klump, if you need a new watch. And we have at Miss Amanda Jane with a Y. Guys, we'll be back on Tuesday for episode 1. Thanks for coming through and having a drink with us here on episode 1. Guys, that's the last call.
Y'all have a good night.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.